Yo, Americans, want to learn how to get multiple lays like my day game students this year? You ever wonder how the fuck is it possible? Instead of just getting one lay or like one off, but you want to get multiple, right? So we're gonna go over some case studies. If you're American, you're out there, you're listening to this video is for you. Why not Canada? Well, they're in a recession, right? You can always make a deal with me. If you're Canadian, so far nobody's taking me up on a deal. But anyways, let's get to the point. All right, Americans, how the fuck do you get your dick wet over and over for a day game? All right. Well, we got to start looking at some case studies of two students who's gotten laid. Because sometimes people wonder, well, isn't it a numbers game? Aren't you supposed to mass approach? In reality, it's not like that at all. So let's see if anyone shows up today. Hopefully, it's not like last time. Last time, it's like 3 fucking people showed up. All right. So let's talk about them. One guy has 5 lays for my Indian student. The other guy has 2 lays. But why the fuck would they get laid instead of just one lay? Why does it happen multiple times? I know for some of you it's unrelatable, this topic. You're like, oh, why do you care, right? Because you're MGTOW and you don't give a fuck. But I'm saying that you should give a fuck. It's really important that you give a fuck. So we're going to talk about it. All right. I'll give myself a like. You guys won't. All right. So to my Indian students, they got laid on July 7th. You're like, really? Yeah. Well, do you have any proof of that? Or is this like bullshit? So one guy got his 5th lay, one guy got his whatever lay, his second one. So here's some screenshots just to make sure I'm not bullshitting. So here's one of the screenshots. You can see it. I wish I could make it bigger, but it says, hey John, I got laid with the girl I fingered in the car on Sunday. I was like, congratulations. I said, she had vagimus. The fuck? So we tried many times. I was 1/4 inside her. So technically it is a lay. Now I put July 7th, 2026. I told you it was going to happen soon. It still counts as long as you're inside her. And then he put yes. So that's his 5th lay for that one. Does that make sense? That's his 5th lay. However, the other student over here, it's a different thumbnail. I wish I can zoom in better. It doesn't zoom in very well. But for this screenshot over here, it says, hey John, I wanted to say that I got my second lay on 7th. Same fucking day, July 7th. Thanks to your coach. Thanks to your objections looping, I could deal with LMR very easily. That's called last minute resistance. Some mystery method bullshit. I put excellent. Do you know what the other Indian student? He just got his 5th. I put play, but 5th lay like yesterday. I was about to send it to you. Actually, both of you got laid on exactly the same day, and he starts laughing. Yeah, I saw, right? In the same day, is it? Haha. Anyways, make another video testimonial. If they want to ignore your first one, they can watch your second one. Do you have any lay picks? Yeah, sure. I'm stuck with a lot of work at the moment. I'll make one in 1 or 2 days. Unfortunately, I did not get the chance to get this one, but we'll try the next one. But I put it's okay. Congratulations again. Look forward to your video testimonial, which he's already filmed. He's already filmed that. So let's see. I'll change the title a little bit. That one's not sticking because I think this topic is not really relatable to a lot of people because most people are probably broke and they're stuck and they're turned MGTOW. So let me try to remove that. All right. So that's the thing. 689 laid in poll testimonials, getting very close to 700. The difference isn't game techniques or a huge numbers game of mass approaching, but that is a repeatable skill. I know it sounds crazy because we're so used to hearing that you need to play a mass numbers game during a tariff inflation, but I'm telling you that is not going to work. That's why you will not get multiple lays if you try to do it by mass approaching like mystery method or RSD method. Is not going to work. So instead, you got to start doing it correctly. Otherwise, you will not get laid multiple times. I feel like I'm talking to myself here. One person on here. I'm trying to give myself a thumbs up, right? So more people show up, but I'll send it to a few more people. There it is. I give myself a thumbs up when watching. All right. So basically, the tariff can affect your voice. It can make you sound depressed or lethargic. So whatever advantages that you thought you had from game, it becomes less effective. It's leeching points away from you. Because when you think about it, looks is out of 10, money is out of 5. Status for your ethnicity, unless you're status maxing, is out of 10. Social skills is 2.5 points. Social calibrations is 2.5 points. Emotional control is 2.5 points. And game is 2.5 points. So the reason why people are not getting multiple lays or even laid at all, so this topic is unrelatable, is because it's one category called the emotional control. In that one category, it is minus 2.5 points. Because minus 2.5 points, that's why people get stuck. It doesn't matter how much game that you think you have, how much techniques you think you have. Because of that, you're always going to get stuck. Does that make sense? You're always going to get stuck. Let me just send this to a few more people. All right. I've done the best as I could. So at least you guys know about the YouTube Live. It's still on. So, as I was saying, let me try to focus. All right. Lock in. Lock in. So, that's why it's important to have the emotional control like elite tonality mastery. And while that's important, I'm going to share with you 3 secrets, right? That's going to revolutionize the way you understand why my students keep getting laid. While you don't get laid by doing the fucking opposite, like an unteachable case. So there are other students who have bought my day game product and they have also gotten laid from it. Does that make sense? But they did not get multiple lays. One guy did because after he bought the day game product, he also went through the day game coaching. Because he went through both of them, then he got laid. So I'm just thinking, should I put on a watch? I haven't wore this one in a while. It's like been years since I wore this one. Yeah, and matches the gold. One of my students, they actually stole this one. Believe it or not, they fucking stole this. And then ran away, and I had to get the stuff back. They got delusional and thought it was like evil or something, some Latino guy. Like high school student that got laid. But anyways, I got it back. It's all scratched up. But I polished it a little bit. Anyways, as I was saying, that brings back some memories. But even if a student only had one lay, they're still playing a numbers game. And I know this because I'm Johnny Elite. I'm the world's best day game coach who has gotten more students laid than every popular game global platform scamming coach in the world combined for day game. I have 689 laid in poll testimonials right now. Right, really? If it's 689, it's quite a lot because we're actually getting near 700. And I always think that for other day game coaches, right? Whoever has the most late testimonials probably knows what they're talking about. Whoever has the least late testimonials, which is Game Global, which is 0 this year, they have no idea what they're talking about. Their stuff maybe before the tariff era, when it's affecting your survival value and making you very stressed out. Maybe before then, they might get a few students laid many years ago. But UMP, nobody laid for day game. They just switched to a night game company now. ABCs, nobody laid for day game. They just switched to night game and swiping on Tinder in third world countries. But if you want to get multiple lays from day game, I'm going to spell it out for you exactly. So if you want to ask questions, there are no stones left unturned. I would tell you exactly how they all do it. So Game Global can't get anyone laid for the last 2 years because why did that happen? It's very simple. In last year, 2025, before I got smear campaign, but around that time, Donald Trump on August, I remember it. He was like putting the tariff out there. He had this big cardboard thing, and he says, "Okay, every country is going to get tariff a different amount, right?" It's like here's like what this gets tariff, China gets tariff this, and then they get tariff that, and it's like what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, people started bench holding. Then it started affecting their finances. It wasn't that because of the tariff, but it was the idea of it. They're like, shit, if everything's going to get more expensive, then they start bench holding. And then when that happened, it's like, fuck. You know? See if I can change the title a little bit. Okay. How to get multiple lays, cold approach day game, right? I put like only Megtells will ignore. All right. It's just a title, call you out a little bit just to make sure you show up. So it's almost like game has expired. Does that make sense after the tariff? Because it affects your tonality. So therefore, consistency is all gone. Even for a numbers game, most people don't even get that lay, and it's very rare. Even on Reddit, there's only 2 people that gets laid per season every single like 3 months or something. There's like 4 seasons in a year. One guy gets 2 lays, the second guy gets like 1 lay, and that's it. It rarely happens. So what is skill maxing? Because you want to know exactly why any of the students keep getting late. Because there are students that got multiple lays, by the way. There are definitely students that got multiple lays. And how do you do it? Skill maxing. You know, what the fuck is a skill maxing? Right? So all right. But thank you for giving a thumbs up. Okay. So Marco is saying that I need to have a schedule before I go on YouTube Live. Okay. That's a good idea. Maybe I should make a more consistent schedule. But usually my only schedule that I have, right, for going on YouTube Live is when it has 100 views. So I don't have a schedule. If it doesn't have 100 views, then whatever. But as I was saying, it's using drills and exercises to develop neural pathways and knowing exactly what mistakes are through the infield analysis. Drills and exercise. What the fuck does that mean, John? I don't get it. What drills? What exercises are you talking about? You might be asking. Well, think for example, if my students they have to stand 45 degrees, they will be sending me homework assignments in front of a mirror, practicing. Right now, one of my students, so it's very stressful teaching him, former ABCs of attraction victim. He's not consistent, but he's gotten laid twice for day game with white girls as the Asian guy. And ABCs cannot do that. So last year he lost all his memory during the tariff era. He was being picked on at work. And when I was teaching him, he had no memory. So now he creates a video on the top of his WhatsApp or Signal, and then he has to loop it over and over to have the memory. So that's one of the changes that other dating coaches don't have, because the tariff can create cortisol stress. The cortisol stress can affect your voice. When it affects your voice, it can also like affect your hair. So when I teach a student, my hair is like thinning a little bit up here. It doesn't look like it's thinning, but there are spots here that are disappearing. I was like, what the fuck? So these things can happen. I said, if I'm gonna take you on as a student, you know, every single week you don't do your homework assignments or something and you procrastinate down to the last minute, you have to pay me more if you lose the bet. And he's like, fine. So that makes up for it. But cortisol can make you lose your fucking hair. So now I'm probably going through a lot of cortisol stress. It wasn't even like that 1.5 weeks ago. So I gotta use some more red light therapy. So if it affects your hair, affects your voice, it makes you double chin, right? When you're double chin, you won't be able to approach. The cortisol will physically stop your body. So that's what's affecting your results. And then a lot of times when you have all these issues, your muscles will start to disappear. Sometimes all your muscle mass, because of the cortisol affecting your day game results to gain multiple lays, it will actually eat away at your muscles. But you have no muscles, you'd be skinny fat, or else like there are some people that are real thin. And there's also other people that lost their memory because their hippocampus, the part of their brain, it's almost like the RAM of a computer. You have to, whatever I'm teaching you or whatever you're looking at for Elite 30, you have to take the information and move it to the long-term memory. It's almost like the hard drive or the RAM sticks, right? Are smaller. And also it's almost like you're taking an older computer, slower RAM. It's permanent. It's hard to go upwards when you go downwards. Does that make sense? It's hard to go back upwards. I don't know why. But then the memory does not move to the small hard drive that you have, the old small hard drive. Therefore, your drills are rendered useless. But when that happens, right? Not only do you not have a memory, you go out there approaching, mass approaching. If you were not taking my system, then what will happen is that you will start to, your results will start to decline. You think that you're doing well, but in reality, your results will totally decline. Because, like, I don't want to make this too complicated, right? But the neural pathways are not there. And when the bad economy happens, what happens is that I said this to somebody else, okay? I said, this is your potential up here. And then you move across. Then is your actions over here. And it goes down this way. I might be opposite in the camera. And that becomes your results. And your results will change your belief about yourself. So your potential goes lower. Your actions are fucked. Again, now you hunch more. And then your voice sounds even more stressed because now you got more cortisol. Then it goes downwards again over here, which your results are lowered. And then, your belief changes. Unless you have higher SMV, you might get positive reactions. But if you are not getting that lay, never mind multiple lays, you go in a downward spiral. This is why RSD mass approaching does not work, because you'll be reinforcing bad habits. Okay? But the voice can change and the stress can affect you on the outside. Women do not like a guy with a double chin and a big belly because of stress. Because when you have a 5-figure debt, and that happens quite a lot. So ashwagandha really helps to relax. Yes, it really does. For me personally, I don't take as much ashwagandha these days because I pay like 800. It's not $800, but it's retail $800. This is my ashwagandha. Isn't that cool? This thing shoots out like a brainwave 24/7. So when I sleep, I move it because I have a long ass wire here. You see that? I bought like a 15 feet wire. You're like, well, what the fuck? But yeah, this is my ashwagandha, so it saves me some money from buying pills. But they do have like a very similar effect. So right now I'm in a deregulated settings. It goes for 24/7, 24 hours a day. If you learn John's system, you don't have mass approach like a zombie. Exactly. So for a quick start, you can see this one, different settings here. It's like a menu. So in case I'm sleepy, there's energy and vitality. I just have to open this program over here, and then it's like a coffee. It's like you don't have to buy coffee. This thing will make you fucking awake as shit. Lucid dreaming, improve sleep. Oh, if you don't like, sometimes I take ashwagandha to go to sleep because I'm tired as shit. But if I go to improve sleep, I could do it for 8 hours. I'm knocked the fuck out. This thing will make you so fucking sleepy, right? You're like, well, what the fuck, man? This is like a sleeping pill. Isn't that cool? Because it's brainwaves. And there's like different meditations. There's like one, two, three, four, five, six meditations. Then there's deep relaxation, which I'm always using, and pain control. I always get inflammation. That's why sometimes I cannot go on YouTube Live. My nerves are like feeling like it's on fire. But thank you for bringing up ashwagandha, because if you want to approach, right, and you don't have some way to relax, your nervous system is what they call deregulated. That also affects your ability to get multiple lays, because the nervous system has two different modes. Okay. I think it's called parasympathetic nervous system versus something else. But when you're deregulated, your stomach no longer digests the food. It goes into fight and flight. It starts to like move the blood elsewhere, make you like very stressed out. It's kind of like when you get attacked by a saber-toothed tiger, but if you let that happen long enough because of massive stress because of the bad economy and you owe five-figure debt, never mind about getting those multiple lays or even that lay. It can affect your voice, and it'll show up in your face. When the stress is there, your hair will start to fall out, kind of like mine a little bit, teaching the other ABC student. So as I was saying, thank you for bringing that up. Ashwagandha, yes. Some people say like ashwagandha is dangerous, blah blah blah, all this stuff. You don't have to take it every day. Just take it when you sleep, and don't do it more than 3 months. But if you take low dosage for 3 months, you actually, according to like scientific studies, you can reduce your cortisol stress by 32%. So if you use like a very low dosage of ashwagandha for 3 months, I'm not like a doctor. This is not medical advice, but I'm just telling you what I do in my students, they do. Because without it, they'll bench hold. It's really hard to approach. So without that, you stay stuck because you don't know what you're doing wrong without coaching. So what infield analysis, when you look at it, there were two Indian students that got many lays. One got 5 lays, one got 2 lays, right? That means when he got 2 lays, right? The very last video testimonial, you remember that guy from Toronto, right? And people didn't watch it because, oh, he's just lucky. He got lucky. Well, he was using one of my Daygame products, Elite Daygame, for steps. He got laid. Then he got the Skype coaching and got a second lay. Does that make sense? After he got some results, then he just got more coaching. So it's working. But the thing was that the very first thing he did was he sent me like 6 or 7 different infields from Toronto. He sent me all these infields, and we went over every single infield, every single second. It's not just like I'm some kind of direct game white dating coach saying, "Oh, you got to square off, make better eye contact, and be more confident in your infield, and do more tactics." No, we're going through every single second to see if she's on the line or off the line, on the line or off the line. You got to get her talking more so you can flirt more. You got to slow down your speech. There's a lot of things that I can see with an infield analysis. So the thing is that we went over every single infield. And over the Skype, I went over his body language. We were rehearsing together. I was like, okay, I'm the woman here. I'm going to move myself out of the way, put a picture of a hot woman, and we're going to talk back and forth. Pretend I'm speaking for her. And he said, okay. Then he opened, right? And I write down all his mistakes right over here. I type it all out on a laptop. I was like, okay, this is the issue. Your hands are all the way up here for some reason, right? It should be somewhere else. You are not doing this correctly. This is the body's twitching. I had a whole list of mistakes. You see that? You don't know what you don't know. You cannot see through your own mistakes. Most people think that they can teach themselves. And we'll get into that because we also have an Asian student who got laid. But I'm wondering, when my other students have 2 lays and 5 lays, where is his second lay? Because he won't get it because he doesn't have the same drills. He doesn't have the same drills. That's why you need an infield analysis. He sent me some for one of his Skypes because Elite 30 comes with a Skype. Everyone should start with Elite 30. That means, but he hasn't actually used the Skype yet. I saw his infield. It was absolutely like horrible. The fact that he still got some lays before, right? Even he's an Asian, 5'7", but the fact that he even got lays from that is very surprising because there's so many mistakes, so many things I would change. So how many drills do students do to get to the lay? I'll give you one example of a guy with multiple lays. Okay, so I have one student that has 100 lays. He credited to my coaching. He bought Elite 30. Is the very first thing he bought, but he couldn't afford it. And first, he was in an Asian country. A black guy, tall black dude. So I was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Right in China. I was like, "Oh, I got stuck here or something." I was like, "Okay." And then he was like bench holding, and I gave him some videos for the mindset playlist that I create right now with 26 videos. But before I was like, "You're not gonna watch his fucking videos, right? You're gonna ignore it and be ADHD, right?" He kept making excuses. And the recent black student is making excuses too in the beginning why he cannot do the mindset playlist. But I made him do the mindset playlist, and eventually he woke up for the other guy. He's like, "Whoa, why am I making so many excuses, John? I was never like this before, right? I'm acting like a bitch." I was like, "Yeah." He said, "I'm sorry, man. What the hell?" And he start working. But this guy, he couldn't afford Elite 30. So I took pity on him. I mentored him. I only mentor two students. The guy with 15 lays, five models, five white girls, two actresses. He got married with one of the actresses, and he's a father now. The Chinese student, I mentored him a little bit. I also mentored the black student because he is saying like, "John, I love your Elite 30, or I want to get this course. I want to pay for it." Somebody else paid for it on his behalf. Another woman paid for it. Does that make sense? Because he couldn't afford it. She paid for his plane ticket to leave China. She also paid for like this course for him. And he says, "One day I'll pay you back." But he went through Elite 30 12 fucking times. 30-day challenge, right? That's close to 1 year of approaching until it's second nature. He got laid right away from the first to second time he went through it. And every time he got laid, day 15, he goes back to day one. Day 5, day one. Day 10, day one. Day 20, day one. But 12 times. You got it? Good afternoon, Marco. He had to go through it 12 times in a row to get 100 lays because after a while, he became second nature. So it's not like how many drills do you do? It's more like you want to compress the drills. And I was trying to tell this black student that do not delay. A recent one, I removed him from elite access, but he wants to come back. I said, if you can actually practice in front of the mirror, record it. He's sending it to me in WhatsApp. I told him to send it to the Google Drive, right? Put the date, everything like that, label it. No, he's sending it right to my WhatsApp. It's like, dude, you're not a student right now. I removed him. I bought my way out of it. I send him the money. And I said, it's like, dude, I don't want that. It's like, no, you're not in my program until you can do this. Now he's sending me the homework, and he's gonna go get the infield. What the fuck? Like, he's changing his mindset. But the secret is that you don't want to have too many days breaks in between the drills. It is better to do the drills for 3 days and take 1 day off, 2 days, 1 day off, than to just have like 3 days and 3 days off, 1 day, 3 days off, 1 day. Whenever you break the link in the chain, it's almost like planting a seed into the ground. Then every day you water it a little bit. When you water it a little bit, you may not see any results. You got to focus on the process. But however, under the ground, it starts to germinate. The seed breaks, it opens. And when the seed opens, you may not see it underground. Roots start to grow out of it. This is the same thing called the neural pathways. We have roots growing out of our brain by doing the drills from Elite 30, from hard case to hero. Because when the roots grow and you fight, you may not see the public victory yet, but you're winning internally a private victory. The private victory happens first before the public victory. You must win here by doing the drills, even imperfectly. But if I supervise it from elite access and you pass elite 30, but when you start skipping days, you know what happens? It's what happens when you stop watering the plant or you stop watering that seed. That seed does not grow. Does that make sense? That seed starts to dry up. When it dries up, the seed of life, the seed of your day game skills, it starts to wither away. Does that make sense? It withers, it gets dried up. All the roots that you tried. So in reality, this is what you should think about it. It is not short-term intensity. It is long-term consistency. Like, what do you mean by that? You guys don't realize how profound this is. This is not short-term intensity, because how will short-term intensity be like if you're watering that plant? Day number one, you put too much water in there. You drown the plant, the seed. Day number two, you procrastinate. Day number three, you come back. You put even more water than last time. You think, well, it needs more water. So therefore, it's going to grow faster. But you drown it further. Now the plant is having something that's called root rotting. When the roots rot, every other plant around it will start to get infected. Trust me, I know. I bought this thing to grow vegetables, and then it had some defect with the machine. It has like 3 jets of sprays for water, but one of them wasn't working. So one side was dying, and then all the other plants died. They all turned brown. And then when it's root rotting, and then you put more water the third time, it's gone. The plant's drowned. So it's not about short term. It's not like a boot camp where you massively do this. The thing is that short term intensity is the big secret. I mean, short term, long term consistency. If you practice for a little bit every single day, like 15 minutes a day, maybe 10 minutes, whatever. You practice Elite 30 in the mirror. You send me a video on WhatsApp, and then you go out there and you get infield audio for 5 minutes, right? And you do the same thing tomorrow. You practice day number 2, you create some drills from it, and then you go out there, and then you not mass approach. I mean, what the fuck am I saying? Don't mass approach. You go out there and you see if you can get the infield to match the homework assignment. Don't you get it? That is 2 days of barely watering it, just enough for the plant to grow, to breathe. Day number 3, you do the same thing. Day number 4, you don't procrastinate, because most people, when they reach day number 4, they're going to take 2 days off with ADHD because the economy is bad and they have 5-figure debt. They owe like $17,000 or $13,000 to the government. They owe money, and then they're drowning. They say, okay, they'll use their credit card, they'll pay for it later. Now they're stressed out. They get double chinned, and then they don't show up, and then the plant dries out. And then one day they try to put even more effort. They drown the plants. You see that? Does that answer your question? You do the drills by showing up, and you wait until the thing sprouts off the ground. If you want to get your first lay, never mind, we're talking about multiple lays here. But if you want to get that very first lay, you don't know when it sprouts off the ground. The very first Indian student, remember that guy with 5 lays? Now he has 5 lays. He got laid on July 7th, 2026. So is the other guy from Toronto. He also got laid on July 7th. But the thing was that in the first 3 months, right? He just kept watering the plants over and over. But he did not actually like get laid yet. For 3 months, I thought he was an unteachable case. That's why when the ABCs of attraction former victim came back without a memory, he was reminding me, John, you didn't kick me out, right? That's what he says. You didn't kick me out in the first 3 months. I was acting exactly like him. You cannot kick him out. I was like, fuck, right? Because that'll be hypocritical. Because look at his results now. He has 5 lays. Because I didn't kick him out. In the first 3 months, he just watered a plant. So everyone sprouts differently. Does that make sense? The Vietnamese guy in 3 days, just by watering a little bit, he's already sprouted and got laid. The plant grew out of the ground, sprouted, and also it grew into a plant. But then he stopped practicing, or he's not, because he doesn't know what his mistakes are. He didn't use his Skype. And I'm not sure if he's going back to Elite 30, but he starts asking me the wrong questions. Hey, aren't you supposed to spike the emotions, John? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You get Elite 30 body language, it gradually moves upwards by itself. You don't need to spike. It creates massive attraction at the 45-degree body language. But all this takes skills. But he got laid. So he sprouted in 3 days, 3 or 4 days. The other Indian student, when he sprouted off the ground for the seed, right? It was exactly 1.7 months for his first lay. It wasn't 3 months. It was 1.7 months. Everyone sprouts differently. Easy cases who are retard maxing. Retard maxing means you're not thinking and you're just doing whatever I say. Those people, 3 days lay. Normal cases, right? Just like the Indian guy. He takes Krav Maga, so he knows how to fight just like me. Me and him, we took Krav Maga, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and stuff. So we have that in common. When I talk to him in those terms, but he says, John, I'm curious. That's why I ask questions. I say, no, do not be curious because you need to retard max. If you're curious, you need to understand before you can do. But if you can do before you understand, then you water the plants or to water the seed better. Does that make sense? This is a good metaphor, right? You ask the right question. Once he knows exactly how to water that plant, right, and not think about it and follow the instructions, he'll keep germinating that seed. It'll grow. Then he got laid, but it's 1.7 months. While the other Indian guy took exactly 3 months. Isn't that weird? Before it sprout off the ground, but now he sprout 5 different seeds because he has a good foundation with very strong roots. So everyone's different. Normal cases, 3 weeks to 3 months, they get laid. Hard cases, exactly 6 months. Why is it 6 months? What's so different about a hard case? Because this other black guy that I removed from the program on the first day, it's not that I removed him. It's more like you cannot start if you resist. He says, I'm a hard case. I was like, no, you're an unteachable case. Now he's different. He showed up. I want to see if he actually does his homework. I'm just surprised he even showed up and practiced in the mirror. I'm very surprised he even started. You know, massive procrastinator and wants to slow things down. I show him another black dude that was like who wanted to get elite bundle resurrections, but he's like, oh, I want to go on my own pace for elite 30. He wants to go slow. When you go slow and you procrastinate and you don't water the plant and you take your time and you have breaks in between, you'll kill your plant. So hard cases are Asperger's syndrome. They're always in their head. They're not retard maxing, not thinking. Hard case always gets laid in 6 months or more for their first lay because they think too fucking much. They're always thinking. They're like, oh yeah, what if I do this instead? If I do that instead? They're always so logical. Because Asperger's syndrome is a high functioning autism, but it's a very logical disease of the mind. You look at ABCs of attraction, Asperger's. You look at mystery method, Asperger's. You look at other dating coaches who are former engineers, tall self-proclaimed coaches. Exactly the same issues, in my opinion, allegedly. Squatting Casanova, biotech engineer, Asperger's. You get it? They think differently. But when you have a student with Asperger traits, usually I have a lot of Indian engineers, right, as students. Whenever you have an Indian engineer, they'll push the lay a little bit ahead. So there was another guy who was gonna propose to his white girlfriend that he got from Elite Bundle Resurrections, Indian guy, but he's gonna push it off to September now. Okay, always procrastinating. I think he should just propose now, right? That'd been better. But for him, it took him 8 months to get laid. His seed sprouted. He went slow. He did Elite 30 in the airport. Okay, so he got the foundation down. However, then he bench showed it for elite access. He barely showed up in water to seed. That's why it took longer. Hard case. And then afterwards, when he was the first one to buy elite tonality mastery to hide the cortisol issues, and he bangs a white girl in London. Then he has a white girlfriend because of elite tonality mastery, but he needed the foundation of all the other things. So everyone sprouts their first lay at a different time. But how you get multiple lays, I'm going to extend the metaphor for you guys to understand. I'm going to speak it in simple terms. We all know that if we plant a seed, right, of Elite 30 and use Elite Access to water it on a daily basis, long-term consistency beats short-term intensity. But what happens when the thing sprouts off the ground? You get a pole and then creates like a plant, it becomes a lay. So what happens after the lay? Okay. Todd is a former engineer. He's monotoned. You don't think he's Asperger's? He's the most Asperger's. That's why he doesn't get students laid for Daygame. He's like 1,000% Asperger's. The way he talks is monotone, like mystery, and only went no up and then back to monotone. He's so Asperger's. He's like literally like autistic. When he talks to women and he can only get positive reactions, he doesn't even like get laid in his infield. They just end in a cab at nighttime in Las Vegas or some shit. It's always like some kind of trick like that. He can't even do it for day game. Todd is like he's like Jordan Peterson. He just gives good advice like Jordan Peterson, but he shows no proof, and his whole life is a mess. Especially Todd B. Todd's the most autistic person I've ever seen in my life. So for Asperger's, high functioning autism, engineer, that's exactly why. So as I was saying, how the fuck do you get multiple lays like my students? This is the big secret, okay? I'm gonna drop the truth bomb here with the same because somebody asked me about the seed. You plant the seed, right? You water it. First Indian student took 3 months, the other guy 1.7 months. And then we have a Vietnamese guy who got Elite 30, and he took 3 days. So his sprout fast. But why did it not last? Why did it not last? Because he didn't know how to pour the water again. He should continue to practice the drills or go back to day one for the Vietnamese guy who bought Elite 30 because he did not use my expertise to tell him how to water the plants. So what happens is that he's oversaturating his plants incorrectly. The water is not clean because he is still seeing it from his own mental filter. When he sent me an infield, right, on the WhatsApp instead of a Google Drive, it was really bad. His friend filmed him approaching this woman, and I was like, dude, everything is wrong. The distance is wrong. The way he's speaking, his hand gestures are wrong. His body language is in the wrong angle. Everything was wrong. How can he ever get the second lay? I'm glad he had a huge boost from Elite 30. He got the strategy. He made some changes in real time. But if he wants to get his second lay, he needs to get some coaching. But that's the problem when he thinks he's an expert gardener, that he can run his own garden. You see that? So that's why he did not get more than one right now. He's going to have to play a numbers game and keep growing plants until one of them grows off the ground. He's going to lose a lot of different seeds. He's going to water it incorrectly. But the Indian guy, he took 3 months. So, but what he got 5 lays. So every single time he gets laid, you know what happens to the Indian guy? Every single time he gets his lay, he will bench hold, meaning that his ego goes up, his self-esteem goes down. Now he thinks he's a god. Not that he thinks he is, but some of my students, when they get like crazy results, they think they're a god. Then usually they'll start when they get into god mode, they'll start shooting laser out of their eyes because they're so fucking narcissistic. And they stop doing the drills. They'll still get 3 more lays when they're in god mode. 2 more because they're vibe, they get overconfident, 1 more lay, and then afterwards 0 lays for a whole year. The whole garden is dried up. They killed their soil. But they thought they could do it without me. John, I'm not going to do the drills anymore. I got this. And then they get stuck because they're a narcissist, because they're cluster B personality, because they're a narcissist, sociopath, borderline personality triggered, and also histrionic show off. They got their results, and it's just like they think they can do it. Some people get into a relationship and then they quit the game afterwards. That happens to my Italian student. He got Italian like woman, fuck buddy. He got like nothing but stunners, but at some point he just stopped practicing the drills for the last 3 and it dries up. The same thing happened with another half Jewish, half white guy. He got like 15 lays or something. He disappeared because I was very tough on him whenever he makes mistakes. And then he came back, he's like complaining about his cluster B shit, borderline sort of shit. I just say, like, I treat the students, if they're good students, they get treated well. If they're not good students, you get some discipline. Like Sebastian, the smear campaigner loser. That guy doesn't even show up and water his plants. Yeah, he can still grow little plants when he moves the garden over to Latin America in Colombia or somewhere like that. Easy mode. When you have status maxing, he doesn't look white to me. He looks exactly like the half Jewish, half white guy. Like he looks like a mixed race, but he thinks he's white in his mind. But for that guy, he had to move the garden somewhere else to grow the plants easier. Then he thinks he's an expert. That's a high value hard case. But how do you get multiple lays? Is that once the plant grows, right? Most people, they stop watering it. The Indian guy used to bench hold for maybe like 5 days. He doesn't do any homework assignments, makes excuses. His mindset crashes. Does that make sense? Once it crashes, he doesn't do any assignments. The plant dies. Now he has to start all over. and he gets banned for 1 week. I don't ban people for indefinitely, but he gets banned for 1 week and then he starts up again. He starts planting the next seed and starts watering it. So next time he has to go through the mindset playlist that Sebastian will not start. And just like that new black student, he's like, oh, I need to take 4 days to do it. 26 videos, 10 takeaways each. Phase 2, you need to call yourself out. It bothers a narcissist like Sebastian, a complete malignant narcissist, smear campaigner. Malignant narcissists are the most dangerous type of narcissists. These are the most dangerous type of people. So for him, he won't do his homework. He has bad mindsets. That's why he's always broke. He only has like a few thousand to his name all the time. He's broke as a joke. Sebastian can only move the soil by going overseas to Latin America out of Canada every single time to get those results with women that are below their looks level, to grow a plant that is not really a powerful plant. It's like a dandelion. Does that make sense? It's like growing a dandelion. It's like a pest kind of plant. But my students are getting stunners and stuff. They're growing a bigger plant, like a bigger flower, a rose or something. But once the plant collapses, because afterwards there's a lag time. What happens with my Indian student is that he'll bench hold and then he'll get narcissistic and he'll stop following instructions until he gets banned. It's like you try to make him, okay? You try to make him do the exercise, but he can't do it. He'll make excuses. It's like, dude, you know you got banned last month, right? For the last 4 lays, right? Every single month you've been banned once, right? Is that yes? But he still fucking does it. It doesn't matter. You talk logically to them. When they're root rotting, when the plant is getting rotten and then drying up, they cannot hear you. So now it's different. As soon as he get laid this time on the 5th lay, he's gonna go for his 6th one. Right away, he went to the mindset playlist. And he went back into doing his drills and homework assignments. He started watering the plants again by doing the drills and going out there getting the infield. And we're always updating that pin video up there in case he makes new mistakes or something we did not emphasize. Does that make sense? So that means we're going to reduce the time it takes to get the second, or I mean, for him, he got 5 lays to get number 6. We're reducing the time for him to get number 6 when he what they call hard reset. The same thing happened with the Jewish white student. That guy got 20 lays in a row. Well, of course, he had that break, right? He still got 3 more lays after when he disappeared, but he had to come back because it disappeared. All his results disappeared without the drills. Okay? All of it disappeared because the plants have dried up. The plants have dried up. So, but every single time he gets laid afterwards, we say, okay, to that guy, right? The half Jewish, half white guy. Time to hard reset. Tell yourself that you're not that great. You're not some hot shit. Like, who do you think you are, right? You're just a student. You're just a beginner. I know you got like 20 lays in a row, but you're just a beginner. He hard reset. I'm just a beginner, John. Back to the mindset playlist, right? And he said, okay. He plays the audio after he got his 260 takeaways from 26 videos, and also connected to it is like calling himself out. He listens to the MP3 text to speech. He hears all his mistakes. You got to take responsibility. You cannot procrastinate, blah, blah, blah. In his own words, he writes it down, his own mental vaccine to grow his plants. And then he goes and gets another lay because he practiced all the drills. He showed up more than like Marco and the other students. That's why they got laid over and over. Him and the Italian. They show up all the time in the beginning, watering their garden. So before they don't water the garden, and they have to hard reset. The problem with the Italian student was after he got he has 8 lays, right? They're all stunners. They're all like 8.5, 9 out of 10s. The last one was like 7 point something, but he stayed with her because he likes her the most. But all of those stunners that he banged, he never had stunners. He was a UMP student. He only got women that are 3 out of 10 in looks, and they're all ugly. And then he got PTSD from that because he took mental trauma cure. I can't go into details what he said, but he's been rejected a lot. When he's getting 9 out of 10s and stuff, he started thinking he's a god and he stopped practicing. And then he just dries up. It's the same thing with that Chinese student that got 15 lays, 5 models, 5 white girls, 2 actresses. And when he got a same day lay in Germany in one approach in Berlin, the easiest country in the world, Berlin, Germany, next to Thailand. Because in Berlin, Germany is like Portland, Oregon. They're all woke over there. They're all alternative woke women with blue hair or something like that and pink hair and, that don't shower. In reality, what makes it easier is a socialism. Is that the women already had the survival value taken care of by the government. They get housing, they get university. They just down the fuck. It's easier. It's harder in different parts of Germany, but in Berlin, Germany, it is easy mode. Nobody knows about that, about the socialism. Does that make sense? The socialism makes it easier. So my student went to Germany on the first approach. He fucking same day lays a blonde, and then she became his fuck buddy. Then afterwards, he got two actresses. And he finally listened to my advice at the very end because I said that you're like Mr. Rocket Man. You aero science this shit, maneuver sexualized objections looping. But he's always doing that hardcore. I say sometimes you need to dial back a little bit, make sure she's comfortable, build some comfort first, and then close her. That's how he got his wife. He sees that his wife is freaking out. In Asia, when he flew back there, he was in the actual movie. His wife is like an actress. He was invited to a movie set. He's actually, which is kind of cool. They invited him. He's in the actual real movie there. But then he banged two women in the trailer. But he did not hard reset after that because he thought he was a god after that one approach, one lay in Berlin, Germany. When he went back to Asia, and he got two more lays, and then after his skills left him, he stayed with his girlfriend, the second actress, and she became his wife, and now he's a father. But you see that? He can never be an MPUA, like a master pickup artist, because the students is like, they're not in the purgatory like UMP getting 3 out of 10s. I'll read your question soon. It's not like they're all getting 3 out of 10s and growing like dandelion. He was getting like women above his looks level because this Chinese guy went to Latin America and swiped on Tinder like ABCs. He's got over 75 fucking lays. ABCs, you pay $7,000 for one fucking lay on Tinder. Just to swipe 900 matches. But this guy, I looked at all his lays and all the women, and they're all like less attractive than he is. That's why I said to him, do you know all these women that you're standing next to in the bedroom here? All of them are less attractive than you. You're like this looks level. I'm not saying he's good looking, but I'm saying he's better like looking than a lot of Asians, but not that much better. Is he better looking than me when he was at his prime? I think so, a little bit, but not like so much better. We fix his whitewash hairstyle, all this stuff. But when we look at all these women that he got from Tinder from Latin America, they're just like 4 out of 10s or something, maybe 5 if he's lucky. He never banged a white girl before in his life. It's like, oh, I had this Brazilian that looks kind of white. It's like, that's not white, dude. She's Latina. She just looks white, a white Latina, but she's not white. So you should do drills all the time, or even you did 1 year. I don't stop practicing the drills. I have a tall mirror over here. Every single time I walk across it, I work on it. Does that make sense? So I've probably done the drills like at least like 4 or 5 or 6 times a day. Then you can just go out there and collect your lay because you're sharpened. And good thing I'm the world's best Daygame coach. I can see my own mistakes. My black student, he did the drills like every day, 12 times for Elite 30, Module 3, 30-day challenge. Does that answer your question? You can either go out there and mass approach and try to get laid. People cannot grow the plants anymore because their soil is dying. You get it? Their voice, their cortisol is kind of like weeds are growing in there and is leaching the thing away. So your mentality for this gardening concept is that you think you can go out there and mass approach and try use techniques like mystery method and try to win. That's not the right mindset. In reality, the more you focus on the drills, and maybe it doesn't make sense to you, but if you were a boxer, right? Let's use boxing as an example. Something you can really understand. If you were a boxer, right? Will you practice in the gym, the boxing, the bag? Will you practice with that, thing, right? And also, will you practice like how to defend yourself against those moving bags or, hitting the mitts and stuff, right? Will you practice all that stuff and then you go out there and you fight in the ring? You get it? You spar and then you go out there. Sparring is a metaphor for when you're cold approaching. Does that make sense? Sparring is a metaphor for when you're cold approaching. What happens when you try to cold approach or do more sparring matches or go into tournaments and then you don't have any drills down? Does that make sense? The more drills you do, the more matches you win, the less numbers game you have to do. Because getting knocked out all the time, mystery method, RSD method, and having your plants die over and over just to grow a dandelion once in a while, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Does that answer your question? So that's how the students are able to get laid over and over because they do the drills. But some of the students, when they become narcissistic and they think they're a god, and they get 3 more lays because they grew. The only reason why they got 3 more extra lays from it was they were not growing a dandelion. When they think they're a god, they're growing like a big fucking tree. You get it? The tree is not going to die right away if you don't water it. The second lay is not going to die, but it's going to dry up. Third lay is going to start to crack in half. The tree breaks, and they're like, "What happened, John?" It's like sometimes they backstab me. Whenever that happens, they get narcissistic. They think they're a god, and then I don't teach them anymore. It's like, thanks for the backstab, dude. I told you that you're going to shoot laser out of your eyes and act like a narcissist, like a Sith Lord. You know, the Jedi are the good guys in Star Wars. The Sith are the evil, emotional people. You turn into a Sith. Congratulations. Some people are still a Jedi. They're grateful. Other people, it pumps their narcissism and it kills the plant. Does that make sense? Or other people that don't get the results, they have so much cortisol in their soil. It kills whatever progress that they have. It doesn't matter how much mass approaching. So drills first. Okay, now that makes perfect. You're asking the right questions. You're asking the right questions because now you guys are seeing the only reason they get multiple lays is because after every boxing match, they win the fight, knock the person out, right? Boom, right? TKO, or they get that lay. Instead of resting, they simply go back into the, punching the punching guy. Do. They go back into the drills. They're like, okay, you know, you won, right? You won the boxing match, but it's time to go back to your training camp. You get it? They go back to their training camp and they gear up for the next leg. But we want to reduce the leg time for taking a break. So the plant does not dry up like the big one, right? When you get hotter women as it goes up in quality. Eventually, instead of like the plant breaking and something like that, they keep watering it. So this is profound. If they keep watering even a little bit for that plant, when it's slowly drying up, right, to get their next lay, now it's being replenished a little bit. You get it? Now the plant is not going to dry up and die. It's going to regrow to the second lay, then to the third lay, until they get narcissistic or bench holding and taking a break. Then it's going to crack again. And that big plant that's growing, right? And different type of plants that grows is a metaphor for how hot she is in terms of looks. If they grow a big tree, then she's like 9 out of 10. That does happen. Some of the students do get like 9 out of 10s above their looks level. It's very simple. But when they stop practicing, the tree will crack. Some people, they grow like dandelions. They get like a 4 out of 10. Easy to grow, right? Some people may even delude themselves that they're growing better plants than they really are. Oh yeah, I'm getting like nothing but 9s and whatever out of 10s. And they might not even be 9s to me. She could be mid as fuck, and they don't know that. She can look completely chopped. John, stop speaking like a Gen Z. Yeah, stop being a dead ass and speaking like a Gen Z streamer or something. I'm not, but my hair's all white. I'm not Gen Z. I swear I'm not. See, you can see my hair, right? I did not bleach it for a while. It's kind of whitish. This is not the blonde. It just looks like it. Crazy, right? So how old are you, John? It's like, are you a fucking boomer? Yeah, I have a lot of experience with Daygame, and I try every system. 3 months of every single one to see what works and what doesn't work. Most of it doesn't work except for the naturals. But the naturals, they already can grow their plants consistently because they already have all the skills down. It's almost like they have a big garden already starting. This is a good metaphor. It's not the same like learning how to ride a bicycle. You learn it once and for all. Unfortunately, not. It's more like the Olympics, right? If you don't practice at Olympic level, you start, even if you're Olympic athlete and you learn how to figure skate, or you learn how to like do taekwondo, or you learn how to do something in Olympics, right? Throwing the javelin, to get to a world-class level, that when the students are getting laid over and over with women above their looks level. Don't forget, most people, right? For other people, pickup artists, right? They never get satisfied. My students always quit because they always find the women of their dreams because they're getting women above their looks level. So after like 10, 15 lays or something, they don't want to get 100 lays with like 4 out of 10s. Once they get like an 8 out of 10 or something or above, fuck, they want to stay with her. But No, it's more like the reason why they're so good is because I'm turning them into a natural who has a garden already. I'm growing their garden. And think about if you're in the Olympics, you got to practice, right? You may have some of the skills and you might have some proficiency on your off day, right? But if you don't practice all the time for the drills, you my students, when they can same day lay, think about it this way, they can same day lay nonstop. They are like superhuman. They're superhuman compared to everyone else. So yeah, let me play one of the testimonials. I have it on my second YouTube. All right. But is this starting to make sense, guys? These metaphors I'm speaking. I never wrote this stuff down. I originally wrote a script. I'm just freestyling this entire thing. But I think it makes perfect sense using the garden metaphor. But does that make sense? You have to be like an Olympic athlete. You can't just bench hold. So I have a testimonials here. So here's the very first guy. This guy's from Toronto. He's an Indian guy. And he's just got his second leg. That means he grew his second plant. Does that make sense? We'll play it quickly at double speed. I uploaded to YouTube yesterday when there's less people here. But I upload to YouTube because it took too long to get up there. And then we also have the guy with 5 legs. We'll play this very quickly. We won't play everything. I don't want to bore you guys. But this is a preview of the next video testimonials. That means this is not one lay, like one off. Like that Vietnamese guy who got Elite 30. This is like so far 2 lays so far. Back to back. This is how he did it.
Hello there. Hi, everybody. So I wanted to share my second lay testimony after training with John Elite in Daygame. So I got my second lay on July 7th of 2026 after training with John Elite in Daygame. So it was done through Cold Approach, and it was actually my first approach after a long time because I took a little small break due to a flu. So it went really smooth, and I was able to sexualize it and, loop the objections. So basically, I brought her home to a day 2 and was able to close the deal by looping the objections that John taught me how to.
But here's the thing. That's called maneuver, sexualized objections looping. You maneuver her from the instant dates, always moving around. Do you think he can have that kind of skills without doing drills? This guy was in Krav Maga, like me. I was in Krav Maga, the IDF martial arts, for 5 years. 5 years. That's where I learned how to fight. So I still retain it. Soldiers don't even get 5 years of training. So the moves are always permanent. But I haven't practiced at Olympic level lately. He's been doing Krav Maga for many years. And then he also did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Does that make sense? So I used to take Jiu-Jitsu, but I didn't take it for a long time. I got injured in an MMA sort of fight. In our Krav Maga class, right? Because we're cross-training MMA, right? And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? I was fighting another guy who went to a different Muay Thai gym, and he caught a finger right in my eye. He damaged this eye over here with his thumb. So on the left side, I was just seeing lightning flashes all the time. So that's when I was not allowed to continue because I was injured too badly. I had to prove right from a doctor that my eyes are still operatable. It wasn't because I had to go to a ophthalmologist. They had to look at my eyes every single like month or something to see if there's any damages and when it stops flashing. It took years. So, but my ophthalmologist is a Jewish woman, but she's fucking smoking hot. She's really smoking hot. She's super pretty, which is surprising, but probably a bit of psychopath. I mean, if you have to operate on people's eyes and stuff, a lot of the doctors are like psychopaths. They have to cut people open and stuff, or eyes and stuff. It doesn't bother them. So they do very well for their job. But as I was saying, let's see, what was I saying? Well, for this guy, he did all the drills because we both learned from drills and stuff from martial arts. Does that make sense? So I can explain it in the background. But after his Skype call, I said, you have to make up some drills to do all this stuff. This is how you practice. How will he be able to instigate her and move her around to different places and pull her back home if he was not trained? Most people can't even get an instant date and move her around and pull her back home for most day game coaches for their students. I'm not talking about romantic flirts and then using alcohol and heavy bedroom emasculation kind of shit. No, I'm talking about actual skills. And if they're always like him and the other student are always pulling women home, this was not from like, a day two. Most people, they collect flaky phone numbers to get that dandelion, right? To be grown and they get laid with. While they kill so many of the different seeds in the plants because they don't water it properly, they mass approach. Mass approaching does not grow the plant faster. You're just SMVing it. Looks, money, stats was game. Mass approaching is just like a Pokemon Go battle. You have higher score than her. She has lower looks than you. Eventually, you win the Pokemon Go battle because your Pokemon is stronger than her Pokemon. Does that make sense? Metaphorically speaking. But
he was actually a virgin and also threw a lot of objections on losing a deal. But thanks to John's grouping objections, I was able to address it really clearly. And I didn't use any kind of romantic flirts or king. It was all done through John's coaching, which included a lot of tonality training along with body language and behavioral kin. So I know it was really eye-opening for me because I had like a girlfriend in Toronto for like 5 years, and I'm not beauty or anything like that. Like I don't have good team or anything. I was getting so much plagues previously, even after training with.
he used to train with other Indian dating coaches, popular ones. Not just like regular, but popular ones. He didn't even get a single fucking result. It didn't even work on him. But now he's already up to 2 lays here. Before, it was like Daygame was very hard. His girlfriend in Toronto before was 5 years. He rarely could even make Daygame work. To be honest, I think that was really his first fucking lay from Daygame. Just by playing a numbers game, not because he was like using their stuff. It was just because he just mass trying numbers or whatever. That's 5 years ago. It's easier. It was much easier back then without the tariff. A lot of these unteachable cases come here, they got laid 5 years ago or 3 years ago, and they think they're hot shit. But during a tariff era, that's hard to get that lay, to grow that plant. See, without the drills, we're talking about building the soil, removing the cortisol from your voice with elite tonality mastery, and also planting the seed and doing like constant watering, even though you may not see results right away before it sprouted and got him his lay. But afterwards, he got his second lay. He always practiced the drills. Success leaves clues. The whole idea of planting the seed and watering it, like long-term consistency trumps short-term intensity, like watering too much. You see that? Because he practiced all the time in the mirror with these drills I taught him over Skype. Look at him. He can actually implement this. And when he had to deal with the objections looping, that takes a lot of skills. He's been properly trained. This is not something normal people can do because most people, they fail the objections because the soil is contaminated. Women are like not going to grow in terms of a dandelion to get that 4 out of 10. And then it just doesn't happen. But for him, he dealt with the objections because he sexualized it to get the sexual objections out because he had skills. Skills is more important than game. Skills is universal. Skills will never expire. Game, according to Game Global, and everyone knows this, they only distract you by standing next to women they hired. And then they take a DSLR, perfect camera, very expensive $5,000 camera photo shoot. And then from there, okay, let's see here. Okay, let's see here. Okay, he's sending me infield.
What's up, John? So you asked me to submit a video of
Yeah.
practicing like a carefree vibe.
Yes,
I'm
let's
just
see.
gonna use it as an opportunity to have my and just walking around like comes to
I know you're not a student yet and you're still being tested to see if you can pass it, but you're not smiling. You see that? Your smile is like left to right. It's like horizontal. If I draw a line from left to right, it does not go above the equator. So therefore, even if you sound like you're happy, fun, carefree, positive vibe, even if you tried it, right, it's not up there yet. Does that make sense? So we can see it. I don't have time to screenshot. I'm on YouTube Live right now. But I got stuck with really bad approach anxiety, but understandable for me since I have made an approach in 3 years. No, but you have failed the assignment because if you can't make it today for the approach, then you're not gonna take elite access. You have to go back to day one, start all over tomorrow. You're not approaching tomorrow and counts as that. I say I want to see exactly 14 days, one in the mirror and one out there. But because you broke the link to the chain on teachable cases, cluster C, right? Avoidant personality, approach anxiety. This does not pass. Right? If I were okay, if I were you, right? If you're still able to get back out there, it's probably 8 o'clock, right? I would just ask somebody for some directions, right? And just be happy. Just keep it short. Keep it something simple. And just walk up to her first and then ask the question and smile and do everything that you learned. I know I should not be coaching you because you're not in my coaching program. I removed you from it. But if I were you, I'll get back out there because that's a different mindset. You notice that if you're running away, right? All the unteachable cases does this. This is why I was filtering very hard. You see that? Unteachable cases, right, are really different. So when I was saying earlier, easy cases, they get laid in 3 days. Like that guy grew a plant Vietnamese, but he did not grow a second one. Normal cases, they get laid exactly 3 weeks to 3 months. Hard cases, 6 months to like 8 months or something. Impossible cases, 9 months to 1 year. Unteachable cases, doing the opposite, running away like him, not following the assignment, not able to smile exactly like I told him, completely ruining instruction, not being coachable. For this black guy I was talking about earlier, they will not get laid. I told him that if he takes my coaching, I will not allow him to take it. I bought my way out. I send the money back for the elite access and also elite tonality mastery. Like, what the fuck? No, it's not. It's not like a refund. I don't get refunds. It's more like, fuck no. I'm not putting a year of my life into this. I'm gonna get all white hairs and lose all my hair. You have to prove it to me. You can do this first. So far, he's failed the first test. No changeability. He didn't adapt his skills. He's not smiling. He can't be like this. Hey John. It's like a vertical smile. Hey John. You have to do like this. Smile. Happy, fun, carefree, positive. You need a happy, fun, carefree, positive vibe, kind of like this, right? Where your whole energy changes, right? Not like, hey, I'm pretending to smile, but I'm depressed, but I can't smile. Mm. The ABCs of attraction, former victim, was the same way. He had to pull his fucking smile upwards with a hook in his mouth using his pinky. Does that make sense? So there was another Middle Eastern guy in Sweden, and he didn't get laid from any day game products until he bought Elite 30. He went through the first day, happy, fun, carefree, positive vibe. Day number 2, he learned how to slow down his speech. The women start like his social circle. They start trying to close him because they got really fucking hot blondes over there. He was a bouncer. When he got to day 7, he got his first lay. He got his first lay, and it was a blonde chick too. He's Middle Eastern. You know how Middle Easterns are treated in Sweden, right? A little bit different. They're usually treated with nothing but suspicion, right? I don't want to get into like what happens over there, but you get my point. You get my drift. However, because he watered the plants, you know what he said to me, John? I'm not just going to practice for like a couple minutes or 1 hour. I'm going to practice as soon as he's go home from his job as a bouncer. He's going to practice like all day. That motherfucker. He didn't just practice a little bit. He spent like fucking like 12 fucking hours practicing. Day 1, 12 hours, happy, fun, carefree, positive vibe. Does that make sense? 12 fucking hours. Day number 2, 13 hours. I was like, holy shit. Does that make sense? But I still want to bring up the point that you're seeing, right? That smile is kind of like not past the halfway point from left to right. That means in 2 attempts, explain it to you, right? You still can't do it in the audio infield in this one. That means, are you coachable for elite access? I don't think so. I need to see more. If I were you, I'll send another one and fix it right now and then go back out there and get another approach. since we're on YouTube Live, you can do it in front of everyone. You can show people that you can change, and changeability is important, right? Teachability and changeability. You must have that smile. I had another student, Asian guy, he could not smile. He was depressed. He had to use his pinky, right, on both sides and pull it upwards to make the smile. He had to physically force a smile like a fish hook, right, on both sides of his mouth. Because his face can be like stuck like that. You know, he's very Botox face. That's what I would be doing. But right now, I would say so far, this is a complete like crash and burn. The requirement's not even met for anything. So you can see that when I say you're not a hard case, right? Hard cases can still do this. This is exactly aligned with unteachable case category. I don't want to be mean or nothing, right? But I'm just saying you have to earn your way back here. And this, you have to make a transformation. This is not easy, obviously, but you know how easy it is for the other students, the ones who've gotten late. I'm trying to play their testimonials now, but there's 2 students, right? I'm playing their video testimonials on live. But I hope this makes sense, right? Because if you fail at this, right, and you don't make the changes, I cannot be blamed if I don't let you join Elite Access. It's not about the money. It's about the student results. It's the mission. That's the most important to me. All right. Yeah, Sebastian got me all wrong. Always thinks, oh, it's all about the money, right? It's like, no, it's just I have exactly the same training program. It's just I'm giving it to the people that have the discipline. So let's continue hearing that other guy for his testimonial. We should not skip it because we're trying to explain why he got that lay. Go here.
And also
Right.
5
Right here.
lectures, I was able to address it really clearly. And I didn't use any kind of romantic flirts or king
All done.
through John's coaching, which included a lot of tonality training along with body language and behavioral. So I know it was really eye-opening for me. Was I had like a girlfriend in Toronto for like 8 years, and I'm not
5.
gooey or anything like that. Like I don't have good team or anything. I was getting so much plagues previously. Even after training with all the big team coaches out there, I was still struggling, and I was getting all these flakes, and I almost gave up hope. But then I saw these testimonies and connected with John. He actually told me that you deserve pleasure. Let me change your life. And after that, I just decided to train with John because I think we're pretty similar, like in terms of our mentality. He also trains in jiu-jitsu, boxing, Krav Maga, all of these things.
The Krav
And he's
Maga.
able to actually articulate all his teachings in a very specific manner that I think most people are able.
You see that? He has a trait because when I was being trained in Krav Maga, right, we had to learn in a specific way how to do it. So how the weapon disarm and stuff. I could show you an example. So I'll just grab a toy gun. Okay. So let's see here. You grab a toy gun. Let me look for one. All right. So this one is not a real gun. This is not a real gun. This is just a BB gun. Does it make sense? It's just something I bought from Canadian Tires years ago. It just shoots these little pellets. So it does something like that. It shoots these little BBs. So they're very. But in my Krav Maga training camp, right? They also use the same guns, so it's not a real gun. So it's just a cheap, like it's called Crossman repeater. Cheap. It doesn't even look like a real gun because of all this shit. It looks similar to a M1911 gun. But basically, the first move we had to learn, right, both of us, because we did Krav Maga, is that when a gun's pointed at you here, all right, you have to get out of the line of fire because if the thing goes off, right, boom, it'll shoot you in the fucking face. But it's almost like a drill, right? The first week, we just have to put our hand under here. You get it? We only have to do this, and then we grab a fist and we move it to the side like that. So the whole week, the first week when we're practicing drills, 1. So, but we have to also move our head out of the fucking way, right? Because what happens if this thing goes bam, right? It shoots my head off. So we have to do this. Got it? That's all we practice, like hundreds of times. Right? That makes sense? One. And it's muscle memory. It's kind of like, I'll do this automatically. And then what's the second step on the second week, right? Every day after like we finish the Krav Maga, we go to weapon disarming, then we go sparring. So the second week, we have to do this. And then we push it down here. But we put this hand up here. Does that make sense? So week number 1, week number 2, push. But when we push here, right, we have to be careful because if we try to move our hands out here, we'll get fucking shot off. They pull the gun back, boom. So we have to move out of the way, but we also have to move it up here, up like this, close to our head. So you see how technical it is. 1, 2, push. Now the gun is pointed when downwards at their hips. Get it? So what happens on week number 3? We do another 100 times, right? Week number 1, week number 2, week number 3, we have to strike the attacker right in the face, right? Because if we hit them, they can't think and they cannot pull the trigger. So week 1, week 2, week 3. You get it? We practice this 100 times or something, over and over with a partner, with one of these kind of guns. We probably use exactly the same thing in our class. It's not a real one, obviously, but and then week 1, week 2, week 3, and then week 4. How do we disarm the gun on week number 4? Very simple. When the gun's down here pointing at their hips, right? Does that make sense? It has this angle. So how do we get this gun out of their, like, we punch them, but the gun's here. Does that make sense? How do we get out of their fucking hands? They're still holding on to it. It's like this, right? It's pointing at their hips, and they're just like this, right? They're pulling backwards, and they got punched in the fucking face. Well, it's very simple. At this angle, we grab the bottom here, right here, underneath here. See that? Right here. So we cup it right here. When we grab the bottom over here of the hammer, we twist it to break their fucking finger. You see that? We twist it. So week 1, week 2, week 3, underneath, grasp, under here, twist, pull out. You break their finger good, okay? Right? Very quickly. Then you get the gun back. Okay? Once you go under here, the reason, like, when you punch here, does that make sense? You can't just go like this and move it out here in front of the gun. Because normally you want to punch out here. Naturally, you'll be like right across the gun. Does that make sense? Like, let me see if I can get further here. If you punch here, your natural tendency is to glide your hand across the gun here. But you have to go like this, closer, because it'll shoot your fucking finger off. Then you go forward, right? Does that make sense? Right here, like this, close to your body, forward. You see how technical it is? And then you disarm. Right on their finger, you break it, and you pull it back. And what you have to do over here, besides telling them, you know, put your hands up, get on the ground. You have to rack it like this. You have to hit the slide because the slide could be dislodged. Then you got to pull up here, the receiver up here, to make sure that any sort of like jam is ejected. Does that make sense? And that's how you get them on the floor. Then you start getting some help. Tell other people, hey, call the cops or something, right? And they get the guy arrested. And when they come, you put the gun on the floor, away from them, put it against the wall. If that guy comes after you, then you can bring it back up. But you keep it away from it, and then you let them take it. And what we learn is that we cannot use any force that is not proportional in Krav Maga to the opponent to save our own lives. This is self-defense in Krav Maga. But, sorry, this cushion over here is kind of like in the way. It's not working properly. But does that make sense? Because it's a drill, right? We have to practice it. It wasn't because we were just like, we practice by sparring. We don't just get into a match like this and the person doesn't have any, and we just wear helmets and stuff. And then we try to disarm it without some drills. It won't be second nature and we'll always get shot. Sometimes it's good to practice like that. You have like something called simulation ammunition or you have like a dart gun or a Nerf gun or something like that. It shoots these darts, these toys. You can still see if it can shoot you or not. You can practice with a helmet or something like that. But with the simulation dart or whatever, the bullets, it can create like a paintball effect. But you practice in such a way that even if the gun goes off, right, it wouldn't matter because my head's out of the way in half a second. It takes the person at least like a fraction of a second in order for them to like decide to pull the trigger. So even if you grab it here, they may not necessarily pull the trigger. They'll pull back. When they pull back, then you push forward, right at the hips. Get it? And this is out of the line of fire. That's the first principles. Second principle, control the weapon. Attack the attacker and then disarm the weapon. You get it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And if it's on the side of your head over here, right? Person's pointing here. Then how do you deal with that? Right? Let's say you can kind of see it, right? They're like, give me your wallet, right? The guy's like, give me your fucking wallet, right? You put both hands up, right? Like, okay, I'm sorry, keep your elbows down. First of all, you move your head back and then you move it like this. You get it? You're out of the line of fire. Give me your fucking wallet. Get it? 1. Now you look at him. 2, push it down the hips. Number 3, strike the attacker. Number 4, get the hammer, pull it backwards, out, rack, slide, get on the fucking floor. Get it? Keep your hand on the trigger. But you learn all this stuff. Does that make sense? You learn all this stuff at the same time. So we both were trained the same way. We both can do this automatically. We don't think about it. But I was teaching him in drills because he understands drills. That's how we're training. This IDF training. Does that make sense? So let's see here.
All right. So here's me trying to practice the smiling from ear to ear. Checked to the grocery store, picked up a few things while I was out there.
This is a huge improvement. It's not perfect in terms of the smile because you're used to frowning or maybe like being depressed for a long time, but it did change your voice, right? If you hear it. So yeah, he's showing me, right? The guy I think is an unteachable case. He's showing me that with a smile. He sounds different now. At least it sounds happier, right? So listen to your video, right? It sounds different. The voice have changed compared to previous ones. So I know I should not be like helping somebody else if they didn't pay me for it, but you know what? Why not? Why not? Let's see what he's got. Let's see what he's got. Make sense? And then if somebody's pointing at your stomach over here, right? So how do you disarm this one? Let me just move my watches out of the way. It's back here. So the hand's gonna be here, right? And point your stomach. You can see it here. Right? Hey, give me your whatever, right? So it's the same concept. You grab him by the wrist here, okay? And you get your stomach out of the way and the arm back. Like this. So you grab him by the arm. The gun will be here. So number 1, point at your stomach. But I need some more distance, right? Maybe I can show you here. But it's just to show you drills, right? Don't try this at home. So they're pointing you over here. Give me your fucking money, right? This over here. You do this, right? You grab them by the wrist. You move your hand back here, right? Number 2, you grab them over here. You still grabbing the wrist here. Number 3, you turn into them. Get it? And you snap. You go against the wrist. If it's like here, you'll turn out of here. So 1, 2, 3. Number 4, they're too close to you, right? So you strike them with a weapon over here. Of course, do this with supervision from an instructor, right? This is just for educational purposes. Then you go backwards, rack, slide. There's a shoes over here. I cannot like do that. Get on the floor, right? Got it? Get on the ground. So, and then try to escape. Right? Does that make sense? If necessary, right? You do run away afterwards, you leave this area. You can always press the magazine, throw it in the trash, empty the thing, right? Does that make sense? Throw it in the trash. Then you tell them like where to, law enforcement, where to get it, and there's somebody else who's trying to attack you. So what do you do when somebody's like, the gun is behind your back, right? Does that make sense? They're pointing like on the back of you, right? Are you guys enjoying this? Give it a thumbs up. Like this is a Krav Maga lesson. So obviously I cannot make the gun point directly behind the back here. But if somebody was pointing behind your back, right? Hopefully you can see me. Okay. Okay, you can't really see me, so I can't really show you. It's not. I'm not showing up. Yeah, what the hell? I was standing back there. I cannot. Let me see. I zip this. Right. All right. I have to be here somewhere. All right. Let me see if I can move the shoes out of the way. If you're over here and somebody has a gun back to you, you see me here. Okay, you can't really see me here, so it's no point in showing this one. But yes, everything does have its drills. Does that make sense? I don't think there's any difference between the girls that you get. They always like respond to husband material, right? Does that make sense? So always responds to husband material. It's always like, yeah. So it's like after a while you remember all the moves and stuff, right? It's not because you want to remember it, because it's built into your nervous system. I wish I could show you more. The camera sort of can like zoom better and stuff like that and show up in the background. Even though you put me in a headlock, I can do exactly the same moves every single time because I've been trained so many times. I've done it like for 5 fucking years. I've probably done this close to like thousands of times. Weapon disarming, thousands. If it's like at least 100 times, like or 50 to 100 times per day, I do it for like whole week. If I do show up there that much, sometimes I only show up 3 or 4 times a week, but it's all drills. Drills equals skills equals value, 20 out of 35. That's why my students does drills and stuff. And yeah, I will never forget these moves, ever. Does that make sense? I'll never forget these moves because I've trained in them so much. So, all right. That was interesting, but this is only for educational purposes only. This is not real. Obviously, it's just a crappy BB old like Canadian Tire garbage. But it's a decent training tool, I think. All right. So as I was saying, drills are very important because it gets you laid once. Getting your second lay can be a struggle. Like the Vietnamese student, he only got one because he did not correct the body language. It's like trying to learn weapon disarming without an instructor. Say, oh, I've been winning some fights. It's like, well, you've lost a lot of fights too. You're just wasting a lot of time building bad habits by trying to do it yourself and brute forcing it. You may win a few battles, you might grow a few plants here and there, but it's going to take a long time. And then when you look at the Indian guy who also did Krav Maga, right? Does it make sense? It's like the 8th attempt, but yeah, I'm more like working on improve, like since it's I'm working on to improve since it is natural to me. I don't think that's very natural so far from what I see.
I think most people are able to get. But outside that, I definitely recommend everyone training with John. At his air science system, that is really the only
Neuroscience. I'm taking prescribed amphetamines for focus more on work and hit my travel financial goals. I lost muscles. Can husband material good haircut still get me into dates? All the students are using that. Of course it can. You're first of all, I don't think that makes you lose your muscles. It doesn't make you lose your muscles. That's more for the brain. So what you have is sleep apnea. When you sleep, you should just get some nose strips or something. You wake up in the middle of the night. Does that make sense? You wake up in the middle of the night. That's the reason why it's like that for you. So you never have enough like rest for your cortisol. Because I'm using this device over here for the sleep mode, I'm able to finally get some sleep. Without it, I wouldn't sleep tonight. I wouldn't get any sleep. But let's hear.
and the results are there. So I would suggest everyone, whether you're Indian, Black, Chinese, train under him, and have your dating life sorted forever. Especially if you want to master a day game, you have to train with him, right? So that's all for me now, and you hear from me soon again when I get my third leg to dating. Thank you.
Hey guys, I have been.
You cannot lift heavy weights, blood pressure. But that's what the other unteachable case said. He got injured, so he could not practice like working out. You know, is it really true? You were working out for like most of your life before. All right, let's continue. So here's the Indian student, the other guy. 5 lays, right? I've never played this before. These are brand new. I'm going to post these next. I know you guys, I don't want to get people fatigued thinking, oh, another Indian again, always Indian. But they're getting multiple lays. And the point of this whole video is like how to get multiple lays. They all are doing this stuff by doing the drills. They're planting their seed. They're practicing drills all the time over and over until it's second nature. And then from there, the plant grows. And then they water it again, not just like having a break so it doesn't die. And then they just continue like that. So this guy got 2 lays. Now this guy got 5 lays. 5. So let's hear number 5, but I'll play at faster speed.
Training under John Elite from past 5 months for day game, and on July 7th, 2026, I got my
Exactly the same. July 7th, both Indian students gotten laid. Isn't that crazy? July 7th. And what's the date today? July the 10th, right? That's only fucking 3 days ago. 3 days ago. This testimonial is filmed like both of them yesterday.
play firm dating. So I opened this girl and then met her for coffee for 15 minutes and number closed her. And after a few days, I met her again and drove around in my car. After again few days, I met her and then drove around in my car again. And this time I kissed and fingered her. And finally, after a few days, I met her again and pulled her back to my place and finally got laid. It was all from day game, and that's how it happened. So I really think right now that it's a repeatable result with repeatable pattern based on skills rather than any fluke. I want to thank
You see that? It's a repeatable pattern based on skills and it's not a fluke. Get it? There's no numbers game. This guy every single day in the morning he does one drill, and then every single evening he does one approach. And he gets a critique, and then if it's not good enough, we update the video there that he pins onto his Signal or WhatsApp. Success leaves clues, guys. If you guys learn all about drills and forget about drills equals skills equals value. If you stop trying to win the boxing match by losing a lot and then beating an easier opponent, getting a 4 out of 10, or growing dandelions by planting the seed and just doing the drills or something, or not doing the drills, procrastinating, and eventually growing dandelion and not doing it again, that's not true. Drills equals skills. Skills equals value. Value is for your 20 out of 35. The line of fuckability. Join my coaching. Join Elite 30. Start with that, just like the black student who is trying to get that homework assignment done. So far, it took him like 8 tries and quite a bit just to get that smile in there. I just tell him to get out there and approach if he really wants to, right? Let me tell him again, okay? It doesn't matter how natural you think it is. It's not even that good. The smile is not that visible, but you should go out there and see if you can get that tonality of the happy, fun, carefree, positive vibe into the infield. You go back out there. Most of the time, you just say, I'll do it tomorrow. If you do it tomorrow, then you have to start from day 1 again. Does that make sense? Because you didn't complete the loop. If I were you, I'll go back out there no matter how fearful you get. Just walk up to her and just, do the hybrid opener. You haven't learned it yet, but just ask for directions in the happy way. Excuse me real quick. I have a question. I was looking for this place or whatever. Do you know where I can find it? Okay, thank you very much. And just get that in the infield. That's good enough. And then go home. If you can't do that, right? Most people that has like avoidance, approach anxiety, usually cluster C, unteachable cases, right? If you can power past that, then if you can't do it, then I'm just saying, dude, like you can work as hard as you want, but if you come up short, right, you can't join elite access. Just get back out there. Just give it a try. Keep repeating to yourself in your own brain. Women once you approach them. Women once you approach them. Of course, I'm giving a lot of instructions, right? You might not be able to focus on that. That's why it's good to listen to this message like at least a couple of times. If you have mental blinking from ADHD, right, your brain shuts down and turns back on, it'll be like a Swiss cheese, right? But if you put two Swiss cheese on top of each other and listen to it twice, it covers all the holes, and then you get the full picture. Listen to this again and go out there and do it. There's a lot of information here. Yeah, but imagine it's going to be that tough to teach an unteachable case. You have to get them to approach. It's just so much work. They do the opposite by not approaching. That's why the plants don't grow, because they're doing the opposite of what it needs to grow the plants. Does the full cap work if you're balding in clothes like hoodies? What do you mean? Full cap? If you're balding in clothing like hoodies, and if you want to look younger, like hoodies, like RSD hoodies. I used to make fun of RSD hoodies. That's the fastest way to not get laid. My students dress husband material, whitewashed. Why would you dress like a fucking poor Gen Z? Makes no sense at all. My Pakistani mentor used to say, I'm going to troll you by wearing a hoodie and showing you that he can get laid with it. And he wasn't able to, right? So he gets laid all the time. I saw him 15 lays, all 9 out of 10s in front of me for the mansion. But when he's wearing his RSD hoodie, right? It's not that good. I'm just saying, it's not consistent. The fastest way to lose, and if you look at Vancouver, only 10% of people are in a relationship. And high cost of living, they cannot afford dating. They cannot spend $100 on a date, Tinder date, nightclubs. But when you dress in a hoodie, that's the fastest way to fail, because most people in Vancouver, they dress like shit. So if you dress like poor and you dress like a college student, all your results are just, the most you can get is an instant date, because you pretend to be confident. And then you go nowhere, your plant dies. It's like, oh, I'm going to keep watering it. It's like, it took a break from weightlifting for 3 months and went back to it. How long should I spend in the gym before I start approaching again? I don't think that's the issue. I think you should get your cortisol under control. That's why you have more narrow shoulders, and also losing the muscle mass. Remember what I said, the 4 traits of cortisol. Number 1, double chin. Number 2, hair loss, right? That's what you experience. Number 3, muscle mass loss. That's what you experience. Number 4, memory loss, right? That's what you experience. You have 3 of the 4 traits because you don't have a double chin. So for you, that's all cortisol related. You got to improve your sleep. Buy some nose strips to open up your breathing so you can sleep better. That's the first thing I'll do to reduce the cortisol. And go take your ashwagandha if you cannot spend $800 on a unit like this. Oh, yeah. And then if we go out there and you help me film some stuff for my Elite Day Game First Steps course, I might actually give it to people for free on my second website. I did promise you this, the red light therapy unit, right? I would give you this, Mr. D. So we'll discuss that later on. That will help you sleep. This also creates melatonin. If you have red light over it, your body creates melatonin without paying for the pills. You have the best sleep of your life. This will solve the problem. This goes on your hair too. Does that make sense? The red light, if it goes on your hair, it regrows. The guy from ABCs of Attraction, former guy, he regrew a lot of his hair, although it's very thin, but he used red light therapy every single night. I told him to get something for his head when he's sleeping. I have it too. So red light therapy is your answer, right? This is your sleep, this is your cortisol. It's not like how long before you start working out. You get no muscles anyways, because the cortisol eat away at it. Just get some sleep, fix your hair. This also helps the skin. So, and this German guy is superhuman. I listen about him. He's incredible. Yeah, you mean the bald German guy, right? The 5'7" guy who got laid in one approach with a 21-year-old, 8.5 out of 10. Then he gets a fucking 8 out of 10, second one, Middle Eastern chick that looks like a Latina. And my students, they saw a picture of that with her tits and stuff. She sent it to him. And they say, whoa, she's so hot. She's higher than an 8. Then the third one was 7.6 or something in the face. Butter face, but nice body. 21-year-old again. Then he got a 40-year-old Megan Fox looking woman after that. After he came back to the coaching after 2 years. He got no lays for day game. He went to another white dating coach, learning some Tinder shit and he went to Daygame and got no results. Then he came back here and he started doing the drills again. Then he gets like that Megan Fox looking blonde in Germany. So, long story short, that's what happened. All right. Actually, I could play some of his testimonials if I can find it. Maybe in the future I should put it up there, right? And not worry, I can always repost it in 6 months. So now that you guys understand about the drills, right? Is the drills making sense? The garden analogy is perfect. But you cannot see your own mistakes. You don't know what you don't know. The Vietnamese guy, I just wish that he would just, stop being an expert, put your ego aside, and just train with me. And then instead of being the expert, this could speed up the next lay. That's why my students, he was saying, "Oh, what's the next lay?" Right? Then I send those 2 screenshots of the 2 Indian students getting laid. It's like, "Oh, he got his second lay right now. Oh, this guy got his 5th lay." It's like, you were saying, you know. So, oh yeah, what was I thinking? The Indian guy, right? We never played his testimonial before. This would be the first time you guys all heard it, right? Let's
Hey, Fuke. I want to thank John for his coaching and his guidance throughout. Past few days, I was messing up in some of the skills, especially social skills flow drill, but John made sure that I practiced this skill enough to get it down. And eventually I got it down. Also, I am getting better at slowing down my speech, which is very important. John really made sure on these skills and then also made sure that I adapted. I was required to send homework assignment and then infield audio on a daily basis. And that's how I am getting all these skills, and based on that, I am getting these results. I want to talk about Elite 30 also.
Do you see that? That's something that, they're not getting a feedback. The Vietnamese guy. I'm not here to criticize him. I'm just saying, no matter how many times I say, maybe you should get elite access. Like, no, I want to use my free Skype first. Then use your free Skype. Where are you? It's like, why? Okay, imagine that person like him is trying to do his own surgery. Okay, John, I like your course about surgery, but I'm gonna do my own surgery. You're gonna fuck something up. No, but I've successfully done up to this point. It's like, dude, you're gonna fucking botch it. It's like, okay, you improve your techniques, you got your results, but you want to get further results, you go to the top surgeon, which is me, in the whole world. You pay him what he's worth, and I'm not asking a lot, and put your ego aside. You're not a surgeon. Right? Let me do the heavy lifting. Right? Just stay down and just let me do my job. Wake up, everything's fixed. I'll get you multiple lays faster. Sometimes, this guy's telling me exactly how he got laid. I haven't posted this yet. This is brand new. This is on 3 days ago, on July the 7th. So for you guys, everyone should start with Elite 30. See if you can do the 30-day challenge. Like the black student, he still needs to approach today before 12 p.m. If he doesn't do that, then he's going to show me his unteachable case. But if you can pass that test and you can practice at home in the mirror and go out there, Mr. D, you didn't do that. So, you didn't always show up at the practice, right? So it does affect you. I was right. But that's not the point. The point is that if you can't practice and go out there and then you have big procrastination breaks, like you're watering the plant or the seed that you planted, then it'll dry up. It's all there. The guy's telling you exactly what needs to be done. So even during drills, but without your guidance, it'll make everything worse. Well, it'll be better than before, but it doesn't mean you can extract all the points. So if social calibrations is 2.5 points, right? You may extract like 1 or 1.5, and that'll be better than before. But if you want to get all 2.5 points of social calibrations in social skills flow drill, right? Your social skills flow drill is non-existent. You won't figure it out. Most of the people do a zombie flow drill. They give a statement. She gives a short answer. Then they ask a question because their brains are not connected because they're autistic. Their corpus callosum in the middle has loose wiring. So they always do this code read or statement, short answer she gives, and then asks a question, back to code reading statement, back to question, back to short answer, code read. So that's what happens when you don't have training and you go out there with your own crappy conversational skills and you will not extract all the points. Yes, you'll get better. You still get that lay like that Vietnamese guy. And even that Indian guy in Toronto got a first lay just for my day game products. His second lay is from the Skype. But if you want more results, not just the first one, You want more results? Then get some coaching. Start with Elite 30, and if you cannot pass the test of showing up for at least 14 days, like this black guy in real time that you're hearing, if he's not able to do it, then he doesn't get to graduate to it. You get it? If he's avoidant, right? I had another black student the same way. He was super avoidant. He barely pays me. And then he disappears. And then he starts making excuses, runs away. It's like unteachable case, does the opposite, ignores my advice, shoots down the ideas. I mean, there was another guy full of cortisol, lost his hair, lost his memory. Shit, double chinned. He had everything. No muscle mass, weird proportions. You know who you are if you're hearing this, right? And you stab me in the fucking back and then you don't even pay me and you have no empathy or remorse. I work so hard and it's like, he doesn't even fucking pay me afterwards because he can't afford it because he has money problems. It's all related. But then for other black students, oh, I got some of the best black students. 100 lays, other guys got over 30 something lays, multiple girlfriends, multiple fuck buddies, stuff like that. So they can go either way. They can go really bad or they can go really, really good. Some of the best students are black students.
Initially, I started with Elite 30.
Elite 30.
Completed Elite 30 challenges. I was getting some instant dates, but then after a month, when I directly worked with John.
Yeah, so in the beginning, he didn't get laid from Elite 30, but other students did this year. Does that make sense? He was a bit slower. He was a bit slower. It took him 3 months to get his first lay. That was the truth. But he was still germinating, but he got elite access after a month. And then that third month, he got elite tonality mastery. He had to get all of the basics down, and then the flower or the plant finally sprout off the ground. He had to water it for 3 months. He had total faith in me. He was somebody I would have called an unteachable case. No memory whatsoever. But guess what? Memory, compression, adaptation. I'll say this again. Memory, adaptation. No, memory, compression, adaptation. What he lacked in memory, that's why we filmed that video and we put it up there, right? On the WhatsApp so he can hear the things that he forgets. But the compression, he showed up. He showed up and he did all the assignments. Even though he failed for the first 3 months for this guy. He has 5 lays right now. He's in the leaderboard. Give it a thumbs up for that. But he did the drills and then he adapted. So the formula is, let's see, adaptation, compression, and also, fuck, I'm losing my memory. Again, cortisol effects lately. So let's see, memory, compression, adaptation, memory, compression. Yeah, memory, compression, adaptation. I got it back. So he boosts his memory with a video that's pinned, but then he did the compression of the drills. Then he made the adaptation. Does that make sense? Other students, if they don't do more of the drills, some people are better with the body language, kind of like the other Indian guy, Krav Maga, the guy with 2 lays from Toronto. He's better with his body language. So for him, he practiced the drills that he adapted. You get it? He didn't have a good memory, but he still remembered enough when I taught him on Skype. So for him, it was the adaptation. So are you the guy that boosts the memory if you're like, kind of like an unteachable case, or do you boost the body language and stuff, the drills, like the Krav Maga, the weapon disarming, like I showed you here, right, with that thing? Do you practice the drills over and over, or do you practice like listening to the mistakes over and over before you approach? So you choose either memory boosting or you're boosting your body language, your gross motor skills to make the adaptation. Because if you don't make the adaptation, then you can't get the results. Just like the other guy with a black guy right now who's texting me, who I think is an unteachable case. It took him 8 tries to change because he's using the body language. He didn't really pass it, to be honest. The smile is a little bit in the beginning. It just wasn't all the way through. He might need more than 8, but he still has to go out there and do it. But if he doesn't do it, then he's not adapting. Does that make sense? That's why I made this formula exactly like this. 1 drill from Elite 30, 1 approach. Day number 2, 1 drill in front of the mirror, record it, approach. 3rd drill, if he can't do that for like 14 days, and minimum 7 days, let's say they fuck up, like they can't do 14, but they did over 7, maybe 10. I'll still count it, but aim for 14. Unteachable cases, they're allergic to this. When I got Kaizen was 30 days in a row plus 7 days social skills flow drill when Sebastian took it and smear campaigned me on Reddit. The thing is that he wasn't smear campaigning Elite Bundle Resurrections. He was smear campaigning Kaizen because he took Kaizen. He never took the other courses. So it's not representative of the other courses. Kaizen is a tough program. You have to be there, and you have to send me over 20 or 30 infields and homework assignments, and you have to go out there and approach all the time. He didn't do any of them. He just fucking benchoed it and disappeared. So this is a new term. I call it pulling a Sebastian. When you're pulling a Sebastian, it means you're just procrastinating, running away, and not showing up. That's our new term. It's kind of bench holding, right? Or zombies. If you pull a Sebastian, it means you're not showing up. And yes, he can still get laid with a dandelion if he moves over to an easier crop in Colombia or some third world Latin country. Status maxing. But when he doesn't have the status back at home in Vancouver or BC, then that's going to be tough. Does that make sense? He needs a status max to grow the plant, but back at home soil, it's not going to work. He's talking too fast. He sounds angry. He sounds like the Joker when he's talking in Dark Knight. My father. And he's talking fast. Everything's wrong with his everything. He's too stressed out, too cluster B, in my opinion. All right. Social skills are not some type of muscle memory. It should be worked on. Yeah, it's a different skill, right? This one's more of like you practice a drill so much, rehearsing it, it becomes neural pathways, right? Does that make sense? Your neural pathways are like this. A neural pathway looks like an egg and it has a bunch of like wires. And then when you have two neural pathways, you're learning a new skill. Eventually the wires touch here. Get it? And then eventually it connects the second wire and the third wire. And then boom, now you have a new neural pathway. You get it? And then this thing connects. So every single time you remember that, your social skills flow drill will override the zombie flow drill of statements and open-ended questions. Does that make sense? So let's continue playing. Let's get through this one.
Elite access, as he call it. I could see huge improvement in my skill. There is a day and night difference.
The hell? Some kind of weird like audio back there. But I'll continue playing it.
And I really believe that Elite access really helped me hone in my skills a lot. So guys, if you have taken Elite 30, I seriously urge you to take Elite access also. Myself, I really worked hard and followed and trusted John 100%, and then followed everything John said.
You see that? Unlike the black student who dismissed what I said, I was trying to teach him about time management. I'll tell you why that was important. I once had a 21-year-old Latino student, and he's Gen Z, right? That guy who got laid before, he made 2 testimonials. The first year, he was in university, so he didn't actually take it very seriously. He put day game as the last priority, so he half-assed it. I said, unless you make it the first priority, you're not going to get laid. So I taught him time management. He finished university. He graduated. He got laid. He got a girlfriend. So he got like 2 of them, right? But girlfriend was like a Christian, so they didn't have sex before marriage, but she always gave him blowjobs and stuff. Does that make sense? So regardless of that, he got a girlfriend, he got laid. But then afterwards, when he went to his job, they did not pay him because he was an intern. They treat him like a volunteer intern for almost a year. And then his cortisol wiped out all his memory. He started getting fat. He started getting chubby. I was like, what's wrong with you? And then he can remember nothing. He used to be good at the social skills flow drill, but the cortisol wiped out his soil. So the plants doesn't grow. It doesn't connect together. And then no matter how much he practiced the compression, there was no memory back then. And it's only I create the new memory compression adaptation model in 2026, which is working for the students. But back then, 2025, we didn't have that. His memory was wiped out. After his girlfriend and everything, he dumps her. Memory is wiped out. And then when he came back later on, he puts this as last priority. I try to explain it to him, but he looks at me like a zombie. There's nothing behind his eyes. And he just dismissed it. Again, I say, that's how you got stuck in the first place. Now he's like, oh yeah, I got to get an apartment first before I come back. It's like, you can't come back unless you actually remember shit. You have no memory. Your RAM chip has gotten smaller and you want to move things to a hard drive, but the RAM is so small, it's like a Pentium 1 old school computer back in my day. You're like, well, what the fuck, John? What's a Pentium, right? It's not like Windows. No, back then I used to have Windows, like even before Windows 95, we had a Pentium 1, 2, and 3. Like, how fucking old are you, John? Before that, we had like even the computers that were like even before that, when I was at school, we used to have these computers like Atari shit or something. We have floppy drives. And I remember one game we had to play in school. It's called Oregon Trail and Math Blasters. I remember that. What the fuck? This is even before dial-up. I lived a very long life. I tried every day game system out there and learned from 12 naturals. What I'm trying to tell you is that this is a compression of everything. A lot of that stuff is not for everyone. When the soil is damaged and the soil is contaminated, that's why Game Global, with their game techniques, right, without using skill with maxing, and they're trying to grow a plant quickly by mass approaching, or they're trying to do boxing with sparring nonstop going out there, but then they're affected. Their movements are affected because too much cortisol. They won't get any results. It makes sense, right, from the metaphor.
Even though I procrastinated also for a week or two, but more or less, I was able to follow exactly what John said and adopted in the feed and in my homework assignments also. So guys, John actually told me about some unteachable cases who argue with John and then don't follow what John says.
Yeah, that black guy. He was talking with that black guy where he says that there were some unteachable cases not following what I'm saying. I was trying to teach him that you should make day game the number one priority because the other Gen Z Latino did not, and then he did not get results. Does that make sense? Same with the German guy. He was like made it number one priority, then he got late. And then whenever he doesn't, then he gets stuck, then he gets kicked out, and then he comes back. He begs me for more training and Kaizen. I was like, okay. And then he makes it number one priority, and then he gets late. Because the mindsets are like that. Priorities. You can't treat day game like it's the least priority. Day game is what can make you procreate if you want to one day. You want to be a father one day? You better learn some day game because Tinder is not going to get you laid in the United States. I mean, even the ABCs of attraction is going to Latin countries to swipe on Tinder, making their students pay $7,000 just to do that. If it doesn't work in the United States for them, for the Asians, what chance do you have? I know Asians have lower SMV, but you see what I'm saying here? Day game is the only solution. Night game is expensive. Costs money to go to the covers and pay for drinks and stuff and the Uber to go home. And you do that every week, you're spending like a lot of money. The whole year, you're bench holding away $6,000. I calculated it. Seriously. So, as I'm saying, in terms of like the unteachable case, that guy didn't listen to me. I said, here's a chart. I was telling him about this chart that I was making. It's called the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This chart has like 4 of them. The top left is like important and urgent. The next one on the right is called urgent, not important. I mean, important, not urgent, which is the most important. On the bottom left is called urgent, but not important. And on the bottom right is not urgent, not important. So I told him about running. He said, I can't approach because, or I can't practice the drills or whatever because I got to do laundry and stuff. Or I cannot do the mindset plays. I got to do laundry. I said, dude, you only went through 2 videos. Yeah, but don't worry. Throughout the week, right? In 4 days or something, I can finish this. Don't worry about this. I said, what? This guy, this Indian guy over here, how long did he take to finish the mindset playlist? 26 videos. He had to write down 10 takeaways that he learned from each of them on a Google document. He took 1 day. He took exactly 1 day. You're like, what the fuck? You see how ruthless he is, his mindset? Because he can focus. Yeah, he's a little bit unfocused, but he had the grit to do it. The other guy did not. So when he says, like, I told the other guy to put the laundry and also running, right? He says running is more important than the practicing or going mindset playlist. That's a bad mindset before I kicked him out. On the very first fucking day, like less than an hour he's in the course, he's already kicked out. That's how bad his mindset. He's arguing with me. I said, is this the hill you want to fucking die on? God, this reminds me of Sebastian again. It's like, is this the hill that you want to die on? That doing the laundry and also running, and there's only one way. You can't practice at home. You can't do it in a elliptical machine. It has to be outside. One track mind, right? One track mind, stubborn. Is this the hill you want to die on? And then he just like kept, but it's important to me. Get out my program. Let me just send you the money here. I said, what? Can I stay? No, you're not coachable. You must finish Elite 30 and go outside first. And now he's struggling to get outside. He didn't really pass day one, but at least he attempted it. He smiled a little bit in the beginning, not all of it, but really uncoachable. Unteachable cases do the opposite. They'll never grow the plants. I told him. He says, "Oh, I'm a hard case. I'm a hard case. I'll don't worry. I'll get laid within that year. We can go slower." It's like, dude, you will not get laid during that year. I'm trying to explain to him. There's a tariff. It affects his voice. It affects his soil. He's not going to grow it. He's not even watering the plants. You won't even get laid. I said, I'll just take your fucking money. And I don't want to do that. It's unethical. I'm not Game Global. I'm not a Machiavellian person. I cannot take your money unless you demonstrate you can actually be capable. That's what I said to him, and I sent it back to him. It's not like, oh, I'm just refund. No, I bought my way out of it. I was like, fuck this, right? 1 year of this? Do you know who I am? It's like, well, you know who you're talking to? I'm the world's best day game coach. He's like, yeah, but you're not treating me very well. Why should I treat you well? You're not even coachable. All my other students are doing well. I'm like Phil Jackson. That's what I told him on a text. The best basketball coach, the coach of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. You don't just not listen to the coach, right? And then you ignore him, and then the other students are doing well, and you do your own thing. You got to do what the coach does. You got to start retard maxing. That's what I told him. Unbelievable. But yeah, my other students know about all the other students.
But guys, I would urge you to don't procrastinate and just follow exactly what John says. It can seem strange in the beginning, but after getting a hang of it, you will build on these skills and these skills will seem easy. Speaking from my personal example, I was adapting very slowly in the field for first 3 months, and I found it very difficult because these are the skills you have to change on the subconscious level. But once I got the hang of it, now it is so much easy, and I'm getting regular insta dates and lays also, and I'm sure I'll build more of these skills and then get even crazier results in the future. Also, I believe that in past 2-3 years, the game has become very hard because of the tariffs and because of the emotional breakdown this world is going through. Earlier few years.
Yeah, absolutely. When he came to me, right? When he got laid before, it was like quite a few years ago, before the tariff era. It wasn't like during this era. It's like when he was doing day game, he was like, "Why is this so impossible?" When he started out, right? It's like in the first 3 months, he was just getting knocked the fuck out. But his boxing skills eventually caught up to him. Now he's a champion.
I have got some results from Daygame, but this past 2-3 years have been very hard. But then after joining John's coaching and the way he guided me in the correct way, I can see getting results is not that hard. In fact, it is becoming more and more easier, even in this day and age of tariffs and emotional breakdown of the world. I also want to mention one more thing. One more Indian guy from Toronto got laid the same day I got laid on July 7, 2026. And that's his second lay. I really want to congratulate him also.
Is that cool? So maybe like when I posted the other Toronto guy's video testimonial, I did not get more than 100 views. I got like 70 something views or maybe 60 something. I was wondering why. Maybe you think these two are the same students, but they're not. One guy has a beard, they talk differently, they have different looks level, they have different height, different locations. This guy got 5 lays, the other guy finally got 2. But it shows there's a consistency. The other guy may start getting more and more lays because the other guy is stronger with the drills because of Krav Maga. We both took it.
Finally, I would like to talk about some Indian coaches and then global game networks and some other dating coaches. They have not been able to get their students laid from day game from past few years, guys.
Yeah.
One reason is that because they focus too much on the game,
Yep.
which is not even working right now, guys. The things that are working are solid body language and your speech, like slowing down, and these kind of behavioral things, which authors of the past had. And John exactly focuses on these things, guys. And one more thing, some Indian dating coaches and other coaches talk about Indian hate. Look, I never experienced that. It's because John taught me this whitewash tonality. And then I just followed John's advice on fashion also, guys. So I never experienced Indian hate. So any coach out there who is telling you about this Indian hate and all, it's just bullshit, guys. And it's very toxic to have that mindset. Because they have not been able to get Daygame late testimonials also, guys, from past 2-3 years. So in the end, I just want to say that if you are serious about getting results, I really want urging guys and Indian guys to check out John's coaching. He is the best dating coach in the world. And I promise you guys, and I can vouch for the fact that you will not regret it, provided you do the.
Okay, it cuts off over there, but but that was a video testimonial. So the reason why their voices sound like that, because they requested it, and just to protect their identities, And also, I just use the CapCut program. You got a free video editing tool. You can change the voice a little bit, but they're saying exactly the same things. It just changes the timbre of their voice. So, but they're not the same students. So I wish you guys watch more of the other video testimonial. But this, I don't want to keep posting Indian testimonials and getting people bored of it. But think about how hard it is for other Indians to get laid. That other Indian dating coaches will make you think, oh, it's all Indian hate this, Indian hate that, Indian hate, Indian hate. You got to be a supremacy. You got to think you're so great. They got to tell you all this bullshit. Where are there student lay testimonials of Indians? It's gone. It's like many years ago since they had one. Then you look at UMP, right? It used to be full of Indians, right? No Indians get laid over there. It's like a graveyard full of Indian day gamers that nobody gets laid. And they all do night game instead on UMP fucking forums. That black guy told me he was there. So UMP, if their game has expired during a tariff and they switch from a day game coach to a night game coach, then what does that tell you? UMP is bullshit because it uses the mystery method. The last video I made on the YouTube live, I was criticizing the mystery method and I was explaining on the line, off the line concept of sales and how they're always off the line when they give direct compliments or to use the techniques and spike the emotions. I tried to show you in this chart how my students' 45-degree body language gradually goes upwards and it builds attraction. Does that make sense? I tried to explain it, but people didn't want to listen because they treat mystery and R.C. Tyler like a god. These are false idols. You want to learn real skills that has been used by your ancestors. Your ancestors had good social skills, good social, okay, social calibrations, right? They're not super confident, but they have good whitewash tonality. They were calm, they're relaxed, they're not zombies. That's how one generation was passed to another. Your ancestors all had more social skills than you guys did. And now at this generation with the pandemic and the lockdowns and people lost their social skills and then, and all this shit happened, look what happened. The whole world fell apart. 63% of Gen Z or people are single or never gotten laid before, or something like that, I think, for Gen Z. And then right now in Vancouver, only 10% is in a relationship. They can't afford it with the liberal recession. The liberal recession, the far left recession, the technical recession, whatever you want to call it. So things have changed. Even the birth rate is lowering in Asia, except for South Korea. Lower in China, lower in Japan, South Korea going up a little bit, but it was going down for a decade. So what happens in Asia happens to the rest of the world. They're the first MGTOWs. In Japan, the hikikomoris that given up on everything. They just play video games and they just like fucking, watch their hentai shit. And then they just eat whatever instant noodles and that's their life. What the fuck? So the hikikomoris now is happening in China and then it goes over other places. But you see my point. So anyways, let's talk in more details about this, okay? So what's really important about understanding? So I'm going to share with you 3 secrets about using drills and exercises to develop the neural pathways and know exactly what your mistakes are through infield analysis. Like I said, you don't know what you don't know. It's like, oh, I'm doing my own boxing matches. I can win against easier opponents, but I don't know why it's so hard right now during a tariff, right? Metaphorically speaking. It's like if they get laid, they win a match. But in reality, most of the time, women would knock them the fuck out. And they call it a numbers game because they have no skills. They don't do the drills in boxing. Same analogy about the plants. So how can they be consistently winning like my students? My students, they get laid in one approach. You saw the Toronto guy, one approach, laid. My other students, they don't even approach that much. They do more drills and a little bit of approaching, but it doesn't take them a long time to get laid. And back then, when they're doing more drills for other students, they're getting laid in 1 to 6 approaches that day. I'll say this again, 1 to 6 approaches in that day, not like 50 approaches. Like number 3, they get laid. Number 2, they get laid. Number 5, they get laid. And it keeps happening over and over because the drills equal skills. And then when you go out there, you win your boxing matches. Does that is it making sense now? It's that simple. The only reason why my students are knocking out even women, metaphorically speaking, or getting laid by winning the match against tougher opponents and over again is because they have the skills. They drilled it down. And they also have the supervision with the elite access. But the black student cannot get that unless he's able to actually approach out there, make the adaptation, and go out there and approach. I don't know if he's going to do it. I don't know if he's going to do it. But if he's always going to be stuck back to day one over and over, right? He's hurt this. It doesn't matter how natural you think it is. It's not even that good. The smile's not that visible, but you should go out there and see if you can get that tonality of the happy, thin, carefree, pleasant vibe to the infield. Go back out there. Most of the time, you say, I'll do it tomorrow. If you do it tomorrow, then you got to start from day one again. Does that make sense? Because you didn't complete the loop. If I were you, I'll go back out there no matter how fearful you get. Just walk up to her and just, do the hybrid opener. You haven't learned it yet, but just ask for directions in a happy way. Excuse me real quick. I have a question. I was looking for this place or whatever. Do you know I can find it? Okay, thank you very much. You can just get that infield. That's good enough. And then go home. If you can't do it, right? Most people that has like avoidance, approach anxiety, usually cluster C, unteachable cases, right? If you can power past that, then if you can't do it, then I'm just saying, dude, like you can work as hard as you want, but if you come out short, right? You can't join the access. Yeah, I'm not joking. Like, seriously. I'm not joking. I won't let him join. So I know that seems a little bit harsh, right? But if I let him into the place, right, I get frustrated. I lose more of my hair over here. And then I get double chinned. I at what expense? And it affect the other Indian students who are still getting laid a lot, who are consistent. It affects the coach, right? The boxing coach. My students are winning matches nonstop, superstars. But I can't focus if you can't do it properly. I shouldn't. But it's good that he went through Elite 30 first. Sometimes, like, there was another black guy, older guy, who's like, I want to get Elite Bundle Resurrections. Oh, now I want to stay longer with Elite 30, right? And it's like, dude, if you want Elite access in the future, I said, you're not allowed to take it. I said the same thing to both of them. It's not because they're black. Don't forget, some of my best students, or the best student with 100 lays, or second best, is actually black. And he became an instructor afterwards. He went through Elite 30 12 times. Success leaves clues. So he also got Elite access too, a couple of times. So he did train under me. But I also mentor him before he can even afford the course. You're like, why would you do that? I don't know. Because he said to me, John, nobody appreciates you like I do. I understand everything you're saying about the game. You're so profound or something like that, right? You're like light years ahead of everyone. Nobody understands you, but I understand you. I respect you. That's what he said to me. And he had no money back then when he was in China. He was stuck there. A woman had to pay for Elite 30 for him, and a woman had to pay for his plane ticket of her own mercy, a Chinese woman. Then he was able to get out of that country. And she paid for the course on PayPal for me, for him. Does that make sense? But I still mentored him, and look at him, instructor level. I'm not saying he's as good as me, not even close. Because I stopped training him. I blocked him after a while. But at the very least, he did say, John, if you ever like get older one day, or you ever like you're gonna pass away or something, can he teach my system? He'll teach you exactly like the same way I do. He teaches too many lines and stuff, but he says like teach him everything one day if you just get older or something like that, and he'll take over, and then we can keep the lineage alive. That's what he wants to do. Isn't that great? He won't teach it like his way with so many different lines because I don't use lines. And he does not teach his students the same way I train him because I told him he's not allowed to reuse my stuff. And he says, that's fine. He has to do it his way. But, I don't know. I'll still think about it. It's like the movie John Wick. John Wick in the fourth one, there was a black guy that sort of helped him too. The black guy could hunt him, right? For the money. But at the same time, he indirectly helped John Wick. I'm like John Wick. I don't work with other people very well. So anyways, let's continue. So what I'm trying to say is that you got to do the drills, right? It get you laid once, of course, Elite 30. Even the Elite Daygame First Steps got the other Indian guy, the Toronto guy, laid once. But it could be a struggle without Elite access or without ongoing coaching. So for the other Indian guy, I have a deal with him that he can go on, as long as he takes many Skypes, I can give him a better deal. Because I'm making deals with Canadians now. That's why I came up with the idea. If you're Canadian, you cannot afford coaching, we can discuss something. But only until the recession is over, then the price is back to normal. He did it. Other Canadians, where the fuck are you guys? So he'll have ongoing Skypes at a decent price over the long term, but I'll make back the money in a slower way. But it's worth it. He gets laid more. I get more video testimonials. He gets more drills. He gets more results. He's happy. Then it continuously debunks other Indian dating coaches that he trained with before. If it debunks them, then if their stuff doesn't work for him, and my stuff keeps working, then why go to an Indian dating coach when they can't get a student laid anymore? All right. As I was saying, this is how you get multiple lays. You might think it's just game techniques. Why not just spike the emotions, right? But that doesn't make any sense. Spike the emotions. And in a couple of videos back, I debunked spiking the emotions. Okay. So what's this? A piece of paper. This is where I wrote most of my scripts. You see that? It's not like I use AI or anything like that. I voice type now with it. But I always I have to write everything down. So I have a big notepad here. But this is what I talked about last time. Why not spike the emotions? If you can stand 45 degrees with a training in the 6 minutes in the beginning before it ends the date, your attraction goes upwards. Does that make sense? So you get all this volume of water. You see that? All this water. But when you try to spike the emotions because you hunch and stuff, then what goes up goes down like a nail. You see that? Spike, spike, spike. When you look at the volume of spikes versus the actual gradual attraction, this debunks it, but this takes skills to get that body language. Does that make sense? That's not easy. So that's a skill set. That's just the social calibrations. So shit, it's already 2 hours and 21 minutes. We gotta go faster. So mystery method in RSD, right, is no longer working. You're just basically planting a bunch of seeds and then watering them, barely watering them, and then just dying. And maybe one of them is a dandelion. Then you get your lay for a 4 out of 10 looking woman. That's a numbers game. But to get multiple lays, the first secret is that the Indian student, you saw that testimonial. He got laid on July 7th for both of them. One has 2 lays, one has 5 lays. So how did they do it? They were not focused on game techniques like realliterating. Even though other students have gotten laid before for the day game products alone, like the other Vietnamese guy who got laid from Elite 30, the other guy still is running a numbers game. So getting his second lay is going to be harder because he's not trained like my other students. He doesn't know if his boxing technique is right or wrong. He has enough brute force and power to still win some matches in boxing, but is it winning consistently? No. No. You don't know what you don't know. And he's still stuck. And that's an important thing because there's no such thing as a numbers game. It's a game of skills and a game of drills and planting your seed and watering it consistently. And then I can see your infield and then I can see the mistakes. And then we can change the video that you pin up there. Then we can add more points. Okay, I'm going to read this very quickly. The second secret is that Game Global techniques have failed because nobody can get laid testimonials for day game anymore in 2025 and 2026 tariffs because of the economic stress. So you should get my coaching, right? Start with Elite Bundle Resurrections, but if you cannot pass it, like the other black guy, then just start with Elite 30 until you can learn how to pass it. The main thing to understand is that looks are out of 10, money's out of 5, status for your race is out of 10. Social skills, 2.5 points. Social calibration is 2.5 points. Emotional control is worth 2.5 points. And game is 2.5 points. So it's not just looks, money, status, it's game. Because your emotions are minus 2.5 points, then you leech it away from any game category advantage that you think you had. Game is only worth 2.5 points. So if you get 20 out of 35 without being a penalty of minus 2.5 for the emotions because of the cortisol, and you saw Mr. D over there, he has some cortisol effects. He lost his hair, he lost his muscles, he lost his memory, he lost a lot of things. He did not have a double chin. But cortisol can spoil your crops, your soil that you grow the seed that you plant and you do the drills. So you need 20 out of 35. But if you have a minus 2.5 points, any advantage, you might have looks advantage, you might have race, you might have game. That 2.5 points leaches that away. So you're basically going out there with 0 points, or you're not over the line of fuckability. I'll say this again, because of the minus 2.5 points of your cortisol, because of the economy, it will wipe out any advantage that you had in a different category. So the major problem is that the fucking tariff inflation and the Iran war, I said it's going to last 1 or 2 years or something. I said like half a year ago, it's going to last like around 2 years. Iran war is going to last around 2 years or 1.5. But the good thing about the Iran war is that the Iranians are going to rise up at some point when they're weakened, and they're going to overthrow the government once and for all. It's going to be, it's not democracy, but it's going to go back to the old Iran, the old Persia, that kind of government. So in a way, they'll bring world peace. It was worth it. Donald Trump was right. Some things that need to be done, but it's going to affect our wallets. You understand that? The inflation will go back up. Food costs will go back up again. So you should get my coaching before you cannot afford it. Canadians, like the other Toronto guy, you can negotiate a deal with me only temporarily because Canada's in a recession. America is not. So America does not get this deal. I know it's not fair, but they can't afford it. I would rather get people like that laid, like that Indian guy, than not have that deal. Because ABCs of Attraction is going to Toronto and gaslighting people and charging less money for a night game. They don't have day game solutions and not getting anyone laid. They're only getting people to pull women home, try pull them. So they call it pull. They don't call it lay. And then they're just having what they call romantic connections, which is just kissing a woman or touching her hand. They're tricksters. They're tricksters. And we can't let Game Global win because Game Global doesn't work anymore. They cannot produce testimonials like my students can because there is none for the day game. There's only like swiping on fucking Tinder, going to Brazil or going to Colombia or some shit like that, or some Latin country and getting 900 matches in 3 days because you're Asian with status and an engineer. And then you have throw money status advantage pictures. You're just status maxing. You're red pilling. You're fucking status maxing. And then when they're in night game, they just wear black shirts, compound Ninja Turtle, big ninja fat bodies, like Ninja Turtle fat bodies, and they're black pilling. They don't have any fucking skills. Ridiculous. It's either black pill or red pill for ABCs of Attraction. So that gives you minus 2.5 points for emotional control, and it leeches points away. That's why Indian dating coaches for day game are using the mystery method derivatives. Their system is identical to mystery method, except they might add something to it. UMP, they add sexualizing it. Others might add romantic sexual. It doesn't matter. It's always, or London day game, they just add more attraction building from mystery. Because it's using a mystery method, it doesn't work. Mystery method, that's why they cannot grow the soil with a bad soil, cannot grow the plants, is because they open, attract, let me be a clown here, spike emotions, right? Spiking emotions, right? Good idea, idiot. And then they have to build all comfort, multiple dates or just whatever, and then they only seduce at the end after a couple of dates, and then they get laid. That's like 5 fucking steps. Open, attract, comfort, seduce, close. Because of this fucking structure in a boxing match, you can't just have a rigid structure. Okay, we're gonna go through phase 1 in boxing. The only thing we're gonna do is just open the match and just feint the strikes. Okay, we're in round number 2. In round number 2, we're gonna build attraction, so we're gonna do a lot of punches. It's like, okay, whatever, stupid. Number 3, we're just gonna be very light. Okay, number 4, we're gonna seduce. We're gonna do a lot of uppercuts and hooks. And number 5, right? We're just gonna close, right? Nope. You'll be knocked out in the first fucking round. Women will reject you like crazy with your bad body language, your cortisol voice, your 5-figure debt. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm saying. This is why they can't get students late anymore. So if that's the case, night game is 15 out of 35 because night game, imagine this, loud music. When you have loud ass music, can you actually do social skills? Flow drill. Women are drunk, right? They're super drunk and you can't hear each other. So you're like, hey, I like your style. She's like, what do you say? I said, I like your style. She's like, what? You run a mile? I like your style. Oh, you like my style. It's like, the fuck kind of social skills is that? Does that give you emotional control? No. So it's minus that points. That's why it's 15 out of 35. So that's why it's easier for UMP, ABCs, and Mystery and other systems to get them laid from night game. But when it comes to day game, 20 out of 35, they cannot do it. They can't do it. because the game expired, because the soil that they're planting their foundation and planting their seed and not doing drills and hoping that with some water here and there and mass approaching, that it will grow into a dandelion, a 4 out of 10 looking woman, and then get laid for their students. And that stopped working. Only my students are still getting laid for day game coaching. And I'm not that popular. That's the problem. I don't have a huge reach. But imagine more people knew about this. Only you guys know because you're enlightened. And it's not like I'm marketing here or trying to manipulate you. I'm just telling you guys the truth that you can wake up. They're trying to brainwash you. I'm trying to unbrainwash you. It's cult deprogramming. There's no marketing here. I'm just telling the truth. And you're seeing Black students show up. You see the testimonials here. I'm just sharing whatever. I was even deviating from my script I was writing earlier. So I just fucking freestyled it. But what I'm trying to say is it requires less social skills and emotional control for nightclubs. That's why UMP, only night game testimonials. They gone from a day game coach to a night game coach. Sexualizing it, as I say. You got to sexualize it because if she doesn't think about sex, then you don't get laid and have sex. Like, what the fuck kind of stupid ass logic is that? That's the mystery method logic. You know, half-ass sexualizing it throughout, you're off the line. In sales, you're on the line or off the line. If you're on the line, you continue on the line to get to the sale. But if you're off the line, you're sexualizing it. It only attracts women that are 3 out of 10 in looks. The economy is affecting their students' voice. So I'm talking faster now because I got to pee. You know, I'm trying to hold it in. So I'm going to talk faster. But what I'm trying to say is that game is only 2.5. So there's like looks, money, status plus game. So before, let's say they're a white guy, they have like 7 out of looks. They have race for 10, right? 17. But they have no social skills, no social calibrations because they're hunching. And they're also using the zombie flow drill. Statements and like question, statement, question, statement, questions. And then their game category, let's say they had like 2 game before. 2 or maybe 1.5 points. Okay? So when we do the math, 7 plus 10, 17, 18, 19 and a half. It's not even enough. That's why they play a huge numbers game. But let's just say it was 1. It'll be like 17 points. But now it's like minus 2.5 points because of the tariff affecting their voice. It becomes like, let's see. Is it like 14.5 or something? I'm not sure. My math sucks. But that's a score. They used to be higher. They used to be like close to 20. Now they're like fucking 14.5 points. How are they supposed to get laid? So that's why they've given up. So now they just listen to Game Global, get delusional, go to expensive boot camps. That's what's happening. A lot of Indians go to UMP. They don't get laid. They get funneled into night game. It's like a huge graveyard of Indians over there, metaphorically speaking, for day gamers. When you go to UMP, the whole forum is just full of like, there's no results for day game. So they just like, okay, let's go night game. Like, so what the fuck? I thought you paid for day game. Now you funnel to night game. UMP is using mystery method. The last video I talked about, you guys should watch those videos, binge watch them, get them to 100 views. If this video gets 100 views right away, I will go, even in one day, if it gets 100 views, I will go on YouTube live tomorrow. You can learn as much as you want. Like they'll be unlimited. So much like the Asian men going to ABCs of attraction for night game and giving up on day game, when I have the solution that dismisses all these popular platform scammers. This means that popular Game Global coaches cannot get people laid using the misery method techniques anymore. It's too Asperger's. Try to find one lay testimonial for me for mystery method like UMP or Game Global shit. You cannot because it doesn't exist. You won't be able to because those methods have expired. Your voice is affected by the tariff-related economic stress. Yes, my Indian students, they got laid on July 7th, both of them. So the third secret is that unteachable cases are the opposite of my 2 Indian students and what they're doing. I have 2 Black potential students, and it's kind of funny. When I wrote about the 2 Black students, right? One of them has contacted me, and you guys have seen him over here to try to do the first day of Elite 30 to see if he can do it. Before 12 p.m., let's see if he actually approaches. If he doesn't and makes excuses and does not drive out there and say, I'll do it tomorrow, and then he'll continue. Here's the infield. It's like, no, you guys start the mirror first and then go out there and keep it as a pair. But that's an unteachable case. If they're avoidant, approach anxiety, he won't make it. So that's the thing. They're not even hard cases. They're unteachable cases. Doing the opposite, pulling a Sebastian. Sebastian's that Reddit smear campaigner guy. He never shows up, right? Same issue, right? But he was able to move his plant to a different soil in Colombia and still got laid in Bogota. So good for him. Easier, right? Easier soil to get laid in, to grow a plant. Big fucking deal. If he moves that plant back here and it dies. It's that simple. So I had two potential black students who want to join Elite Bundle Resurrections, okay? Makes sense. They can afford it, or they want to afford it, and then they'll pay in 3 pieces, or one paid all at once. But I gave him back some of the money because I was like, dude, he's not listening to me and doing his way. Mind you, some of the best students are black students with like 100 lay counts or over 30 something, and then multiple girlfriends and stuff before they join the army. That's why I stopped. But for Elite 30, you have to be able to approach for 2 weeks in a row. But you have to document your homework assignments with a video of you in front of the mirror practicing the homework assignment. You have to do this without skipping days. So one of my black students got 100 lays with my coaching, and he did Elite 30 12 fucking times in a row, as we said earlier. 12 fucking times. I can't even go through Elite 30 12 times. But man, talk about the resilience and tenacity. So to become an instructor level, 100 lays, and he had like 4 girlfriends at the same time. Elite 30, fucking 12 times. Some Elite Access. He took Elite Access like 2 or 3 times. He learned quite a lot. He invested in his coaching. I mentor him in the beginning because he couldn't afford it. So he's one of the very few in the whole world I mentor. I mentored a black student. So it's not like, oh, I'm trying not to let other black students join. No, it's not that. It's more like you have to be a resilient black student. Then you're unstoppable. But if you're like a short black student, you don't have the protector status and you don't have the resilience like this guy will laugh at you saying, oh yeah, that guy's an idiot. That's what he'll tell me. He should have listened to you in the first place, John, and did it. That's what he'll say to me. But he listened, and look what happens. So he did Elite 30 12 times in a row, and he could focus, and skills automatic. This is extremely easy for my 2 Indian students. They both got laid on July 7, 2026. But it's extremely hard for unteachable cases. One guy wanted to go at his own pace, right? Actually, both of them wanted to go on their own pace. The first guy was like, okay, that's good. What's Elite Access? Oh, that's part 2 of 3 of Elite Bundle Resurrections, right? It's like, yeah. Oh, I'll take that later. I want to go at my own pace. It's like, I want to not water the fucking plants. I want to just dabble in it, fuck around with the plants, barely water it properly, play around with it. Yeah, all your fucking plants are gonna die for the seeds that you plant. All the seeds will die. That's the older black man. This guy's younger than he is. This guy's a millennial. They got other guys like older. Okay. But the point is that you want to dabble. And I said, you're not going to get laid. You do not take Elite Access. The second guy paid for it. And I say, here's your money back. You want to die on this hill disagreeing with me about the schedule and the priorities? Okay. You want to die on this hill? Have your fucking money back. I'm buying my way out of it. I'm not training you. You have to show that you can do Elite 30. And then he comes back today, as you see. And he failed the homework assignment. He tried 8 times, it's not perfect. And he has to go back out there, but approach anxiety. He's not going to do it. So I can't accept him. He can't do it. I'm a hard case, John. I'm a hard case, as he tells me. John, I'm a hard case. Hard case my ass. If you're a hard cases don't have approach anxiety. Hard cases are not avoidant. They're not lazy. They're just fucking slow because they think too much. You are not a hard case. I wish you were a hard case. You're not even an impossible case. Impossible cases are guys that beat themselves up. They get very emotionally distraught when they fail. And then they fill themselves with frustration until they have meltdowns. You're not an impossible case. They take about 9 months to get laid. 9 months to a year. You're an unteachable case. You're unteachable. You do the opposite. You run away from approaching. You're an unteachable case. And that's the worst because you do the opposite. So if you do the opposite of the normal cases or the hard cases, you do the opposite and they still get laid. How are you supposed to get laid? By doing the opposite. That's not wisdom. That's foolishness. Give it a thumbs up for that. That's complete foolishness. So why is there only 2 likes? Are you guys not getting this? Like, is it not clicking? One guy wanted to go his own pace, right? It's like, fuck, game over. So if you want to go 4 times slower or 8 times slower, then whatever results that you're going to get, if you think you're a hard case in 6 months, is going to take like 6 times as long. But no, unteachable case. He won't even get laid if the tariff was there for the next like 10 years or 8 years. He might get one lay after 8 years of the tariff if the tariff lasts that long. So I told him unless he could do this for a minimum of 2 weeks, I would not take him as an elite access student, even if he wanted to join. Another potential black student, right? Elite 30. I remove him from elite access the first day, well, actually the first hour or first minutes. He can always rejoin later. But he says he's doing the mindset playlist, as he told me, as quickly as possible. He says, you know how it is. I hate that fucking phrase. You know how it is, John. You know how it is. You know, I'm just going a little bit slow. I gotta do my laundry. I gotta go work out. You know how it is. What the fuck are you talking about? How it is. Just because you're slow does not mean this is how it is for the other students. You know how it is. John, you know how it is. The fuck are you talking about? Speed up, motherfucker. No, it's just like, I'm gonna take 4 days. I don't mind going slower if I get laid later on. You're not getting laid, dude. I'm just gonna take your fucking money and you won't get laid. No, yes, I will. I'm a hard case. You're an unteachable case. No, I'm a hard case, John. I'm hard. That's a fuck. Now he's still doing like, he's not even doing the correct things. You see that? But it's good. Stay with Elite 30 until you can do it. You have to learn how to learn. You have to learn how to learn properly so you can apply it. You got to be teachable. Got to be coachable. Unteachable cases are not coachable people. The other Indian students do not argue back. Does that make sense? They don't argue with me. They don't tell me like I'm wrong, like he does, and do the opposite. They don't pull a Sebastian. They have the same patterns for those guys, and they want to move as slowly as possible. Slow procrastinators with severe ADHD are very similar to Reddit smear campaigner Sebastian. They don't show up, they can't focus, and you won't get results here. And I won't want to take a student into coaching unless they first prove they can at least fucking focus for fucking 14 days. Just 14 days. Just do it in front of the mirror. I don't care. 3 minutes, right? Go outside for like 30 seconds and record the audio. Ask for directions. Oh, come on. That's not hard. That's 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And driving out there, maybe like 20 minutes. Is that hard? No. But why can't you fucking do it? Why can't you do something that's so helpful to you? Because unteachable cases, they just can't fucking do it. In their mind, they can't focus, they're avoidant, and they're self-righteous. They're delusional. They're cluster B and cluster C. That's the truth. Because they're like that. They can't do it. Because there's some internal mental bullshit, like a parasite in their mind, telling them I'm wrong and they're the expert. And it's like what the fuck? And then they don't like it when you call them a bunch of zombies. Rotting zombies, unteachable cases. But then Sebastian can still get laid when he goes to Colombia by moving his fucking seed over there to an easier country and the soil grows easier. He gets like a below his looks level and now he thinks he's an expert. That's a high value hard case. But it doesn't mean that he's right. Because when he brings that seed back at BC and tries it, he'll get demolished. He'll get completely fucking demolished. So unteachable cases, right? They're the opposite. And the worst thing is when you have low SMV, unteachable cases. We got guys who are 5'3" and ethnic and double chinned and losing half of their hair over here because you give them advice on how to fix their hair. They don't listen to you. They dismiss it. They lose half their hair. And then when you taught them how to lose weight and they already lost 8 pounds, but they cannot stop eating and lying to you because they have alexithymia. They have ADHD, alexithymia, borderline. They can lie straight, like, right through their teeth in front of you, lying. You know they're lying because when you eat too early, you spike insulin. You get fatter when you have too much cortisol. They can't stop shoving food into their mouth. They have no self-control, no impulse control. That's why they fail. Give it a thumbs up if you're learning something. I don't know why. There's people here, but there's like 2 thumbs up, one's from me. One guy fought with me tooth and nail, when I'm teaching him time management. 4 quadrants, categories, right? When you make a square like this, the top one was urgent and important. Next one was important, not urgent. Bottom left one was not important but urgent, like his laundry and taking a walk or running. That's why he says more important. That's important and urgent to him. Which I says not important because he's you gotta get clothing to go to work or stuff like. Okay, but there's many ways to do it. You can do laundry at different times. You can send to somebody else to do it. Get a maid. Buy the same clothing, and then just swap them out or something if they're good. But for him, it's just like, well, that's important. Well, then his priorities are fucked because day game is last. Day game coaching. If that's the last priority, I have students like that. They won't get laid. And in the very last place, right? They're wrestling with severe ADHD and a lack of time management. Now, I taught this to a Latino student, like I told you. He failed my coaching the first year, 21 years old, Gen Z guy. Then he came back the next year. He's still 21. Then he got laid afterwards when he made his first priority. He was making school the first priority, which is fine, but he's making day game last. He made day game first and school number 2. Then he got laid. And then afterwards, he got a girlfriend. Then he made that to his last priority. So when he was 21 years old, he still had another girlfriend. He lost his memory because after university, because I taught him the time management system, and he finished all his homework assignments in 3 weeks, right? He had months of work to do, but he finished it in 3 weeks, everything. What normally would take him years to finish, he finished in like 3 weeks because he learned time management. My other black student who is in the United States Navy, that guy, I'm not sure where the fuck he is right now, but before he rejoined the army, he was re-enlisted. He didn't want to, but they re-enlist him. They call him for reserve unit. But for him, he was like saying, "Oh, you know how it is, John, right? At the university, I can't focus on this stuff." I taught him time management, right? And then that freed up his mind because he's no longer stressed. And it's like, see, was I right? It's like, yep. And then he got laid afterwards. And he got laid again. And then before that, he went to the army. He was about to get another lay, but that woman had herpes. And she told him that. But it was nice of her to tell him that. He was like, should I do this? I was like, dude, if you get herpes or something, then you're going to have it for the rest of your life. So I say, don't do it. But you see my point. But for the 21-year-old Gen Z guy, he became 22 and he lost all his memory after they did not pay him for a year. He started gaining so much fat. His whole body, it looks like his shape. He used to be skinny, no muscles. Remember what I said? Double chinned, losing your hair, no muscle mass, and then losing memory. He was losing his memory. He was losing his muscle mass. He's starting to get chubby. He was actually he's not losing his hair, but it's thinning a little bit. But then he started getting double chinned. I was like, what the fuck is happening with you? He couldn't remember the social skills flow drill. He made this his last priority again. Then he got stuck. I said, you can't join my coaching because now you're an unteachable case. I'm glad you got 2 lays before. I know it was 1 lay and then a bunch of blowjobs and a girlfriend because she didn't want to have sex before marriage. I said, I'm glad you had a girlfriend and also another lay. But this is not good enough. This is key because unteachable cases don't get laid during a tariff era, during a bad economy, during bad soil, or when you're boxing, you just like so anxious that you can't even do it. And women can see your patterns and they can knock you out and reject you. Before they are impossible cases who can take nearly 1 year and get laid if they're triggered. But before that, or they're Asperger's, it'll take 6 months to get laid. They're in their head. Or normal cases, they ask them questions because they're curious, like my other Toronto Indian student, because he says, don't be naturally curious. Just fucking do it. Retard max. Easy cases are retard maxing. I know what you're thinking, right? Game techniques still work with a mass numbers game because of Game Global, right? These dating coaches standing next to women with a DSLR camera, they pay for these models, and then they take very clear photos and make advice videos from it. And then it's like, you think, oh, game is game. Well, the thing is that the tariff is filling your voice with cortisol and your double chin, and it turns women off. It leeches points away from the game category. You end up with a minus 2.5 points for emotional control. And the truth is, I've updated Elite Bundle Resurrections you can now buy it in 3 parts instead of everything at once. Of course, I accidentally kicked out one of the black students who bought it, and he has Elite 30 only. But, however, if you don't have the 4 cortisol traits, I also changed the first 30 days. You have to turn into a pickup artist or a natural because you have to practice in front of the mirror like he is. And for the first 30 days with Elite 30 first, then you go outside for 30 days. Like one after another, practice the mirror, outside, mirror, outside, mirror, outside. You record all the mirrors into video. Outside, you get the audio. I don't care if you practice for only 1 minute or 5 minutes. Your new method is just to be able to become a pickup artist. Just to get the habit down of practice and get out there. The reason I made this change is very simple because it's like going to a new MMA gym. When you are not a fighter or you go into a gym to train, but you don't like working out, right? It's very painful, right? So you don't want to do any hard work. That reason why these unteachable case brains or the ADHD brains is like that is very simple. They have the old caveman brain is optimized for storing energy, not to think. It's trying to make you do the same habit so you can survive. So you don't like anything uncomfortable. That's what it does to you. It makes you comfortable. And it makes you have automatic bad habits. That's why it's not just zombie half approaches with mass approaching and mystery method techniques. It's learning how to show up first without stress. Month 2. Then you use elite access to do the drills properly, get supervised, and then, yeah. So what this is going to do is to address the fact that I'm a tough as a coach, but if I keep correcting you too early, you get too stressed out like Sebastian in a terror-filled economy in the Iran war, you eject. So you will likely quit if you aren't already a pickup artist. That's why I prefer to people who've been approaching before and who's gotten laid, not just once, luckily, like these two guys, these two black gentlemen. So I'm just saying, if you have gotten multiple lays before, that's better. So you're not a complete newbie. And I'm the world's best day game coach. 689 laid in testimonials for day game. I'm not just talking on my ass here like Game Global. More than every day game coach in the world combined, especially Game Global. I've updated my system every single year. This year, besides implementing split testing and showing up for the 30-day method for the first month without quitting, my students do one drill, then they do one approach, and they pin it on Signal or WhatsApp video. We're switching over to Signal right now. I like Signal better than WhatsApp, so all my students are switching over to Signal. Does that make sense? Like, what the hell is Signal? Oh, Signal is a very cool app, very encrypted. So they pin the Signal video and they play it 20 times before approaching. This becomes their external brain. After they capture the infield, I analyze it again. I update the drills and I update the pin video. And what I've done is I've done all the hard work for you for the memory, compression, and then adaptation. I fix your memory. You just have to show up for compression and you'll get the adaptation. I don't care how you get the adaptation. Do you get it from like body language practice, like a boxing match, or do you get it from the memory by listening to the same video 20 times? But for the ABC student, former guy, he lost all his memory. He had to listen to it 30 times. The point is that you need all three. I've created your new external brain because a lot of my students' memories are wiped out due to cortisol stress. Just like the soil when you're planting the seed is fucking up. So therefore, you can't grow plants. But if you click the link in the description, which I've not put there yet, I forgot to put, I'll put a link on the description. Start with Elite 30 from Hard Case to Hero. And if you graduate, get Elite Access. Then get Elite Tonality Mastery if you graduate that. I'll have different conditions for graduation. And finally, for the Elite Playbook, you get that too with a third payment. And I have to raise the price afterwards when the whole summer is over. When it starts raining and stuff, Elite Bundle Resurrection will go up to $400 for each piece. Now it's $350, which is a great price. For Elite 30, $350 for Elite Access, $350 for Elite Tonality Mastery, and then 10 Skypes and also Elite Playbook. You have to have gotten laid before multiple times and not have approach anxiety like this black student here. I wouldn't call him a student yet. Or super low SMV for newbies. Take Elite 30 first, then work your way up. Just show up for the first 30 days, click the link. If you can't find me, I'm on www.johnnyelite.com, or you can go into my YouTube on the very top of the videos in the pinned comment, or also in the description. You can click a link, it'll go right to my website. Or you can go to my YouTube channel and you see a bunch of links up there on the very top. You can click the very first one, it'll go right to my website. So here's the thing. I got so many, like, these two Indian students getting so many lays, multiple lays. That's how they do it. And that's how they did it. One has 5 lays and the other one has like 2 lays. While other Indian dating coaches for day game aren't getting their students late anymore for the tariff era, for Game Global 2. They all shifted to night game or passport bro countries, Tinder and optics for the coaches, and their game techniques have expired. But I also have Elite 30 from Hard Case to Hero as a standalone product. You can start there, and you can always get the Elite Bundle Resurrections 2 of 3 and 3 of 3 later. You have to demonstrate that you can approach for a certain amount of days during a 30-day challenge. I want 2 weeks, right? But if you can't do 2 weeks, do 1 week. Talk to me if you're Canadian. I may be able to offer you a better deal like the other guy. He's using ongoing Skypes and infield analysis. And I truly believe it's the best system ever built. And I can't wait to see you on the inside. And before I go, we'll play his video testimonial one last time. Okay, for both students. And then we'll get going. Okay. So.
Hello there. Hi, everybody. So I wanted to share my second lay testimony
The Toronto
after
guy.
training with John Elite at Daygame. So I got my second lay on July 7th of 2026, training with John Elite in Daygame. So it was done through Cold Approach, and it was actually my first approach after a long time because I took a little small break due to a flu. So it went really smooth, and I was able to sexualize it and, loop the objections. So basically, I brought her home to a day 2 and was able to close the deal by looping the objections that John taught me how to do it. She was actually a virgin and also threw a lot of objections on closing that deal. But thanks to John's looping objections, I was able to address it really clearly. And I didn't use any kind of romantic flirts or king, all done through John's coaching, which included a lot of tonality training along with body language and behavioral kin. So it was really eye-opening for me because I had like a girlfriend in Toronto for like 9 years, and I'm not beauty or anything like that. Like I don't have a team or anything. I was getting so much plates previously, even after training with all the big dating coaches out there. I was still struggling, and I was getting all these flakes, and I almost gave up hope. But then I saw these testimonies and connected with John. He actually told me that you deserve pleasure. Let me change your life. And after that, I just decided to train with John because I think we're pretty similar, like in terms of our mentality. He also trains in jiu-jitsu, boxing, Krav all of these things, and he's able to actually articulate all his teachings in a very specific manner that I think most people are able to get. Well, outside that, I definitely recommend everyone training with John. At his air science system, that is really the only thing that works, and the results are there. So I would suggest everyone, whether you're Indian, Black, Chinese, to train under him and, have your dating life sorted forever. Especially if you want to master Daygame, you have to train with him, right? So that's all for me now. And you hear from me soon again when I get my third lay to dating. Thank you.
Hey guys, I have been training under John Elite from past 5 months for Daygame, and on July 7th, 2026.
So this is a different student. On July 7th, both of them got laid on the same fucking day. Like, they're laughing after I told them.
Especially if you want to master Daygame, you have to train with him, right? So that's all for me now. And you hear from me soon again when I get my third lay to dating. Thank you.
Here's the other student.
Hey guys, I have been training in the John Elite from past 5 months for Daygame, and on July 7th, 2026, I got my 5th lay from Daygame. So I opened this girl and then met her for coffee for 15 minutes and number closed her. And after a few days, I met her again and drove around in my car. After again few days, I met her and then drove around in my car again. And this time, I kissed and fingered her. And finally, after a few days, I met her again and pulled her back to my place and finally got laid. It was all from Daygame, and that's how it happened. So I really think right now that it's a repeatable result with repeatable pattern based on skills rather than any fluke. I want to thank John for his coaching and his guidance throughout. Past few days, I was messing up in some of the skills, especially social skills flow drill. But John made sure that I practiced this skill enough to get it down. And eventually I got it down. Also, I am getting better at slowing down my speech, which is very important. John really made sure on these skills and then also made sure that I adapted. I was required to send homework assignment and then infield audio on a daily basis. And that's how I am getting all these skills, and based on that, I am getting these results. I want to talk about Elite 30 also. Initially, I started with Elite 30 and completed Elite 30 challenges. And I was getting some instant dates. But then after a month, when I directly worked with John, Elite Access as he called it, I could see huge improvement in my skill. There is a day and night difference.
I don't know why the audio cuts off a little bit
I
here.
really believe that Elite Access really helped me to hone in my skills a lot. So guys, if you have taken Elite 30, I seriously urge you to take Elite Access also. I really worked hard and followed and trusted John 100%, and then followed everything John said. Even though I procrastinated
Give
also
it a
for a
thumbs up.
week or two, but more or less, I was able to follow exactly what John said and adapted in the feed and in my homework assignments also. So guys, John actually told me about some unteachable cases who argue with John and then don't follow what John says. But guys, I would urge you to don't procrastinate and just follow exactly what John says.
Mm.
It can seem strange in the beginning, but after getting a hang of it, you will build on these skills and these skills will seem easy. Speaking from my personal example, I was adapting very slowly in the field for first 3 months, and I found it very difficult because these are the skills you have to change on the subconscious level. But once I got the hang of it, now it is so much easy, and I'm getting regular incident dates and plays also. And I'm sure I'll build more of these skills and then get even crazier results in the future. Also, I believe that in past 2-3 years, the game has become very hard because of the tariffs and because of the emotional breakdown this world is going through. Earlier, a few years back, I have got some results from the game, but this past 2-3 years have been very hard. But then after joining John's coaching and the way he guided me in the correct way, I can see getting results is not that hard. In fact, it is becoming more and more easier, even in this day and age of tariffs and emotional breakdown of the world. I also want to mention one more thing. One more Indian guy from Toronto got laid the same day I got laid on July 7, 2026. And that's his second lay. I really want to congratulate him also.
Mm.
Finally, I would like to talk about some Indian coaches and then global game networks and some other dating coaches. They have not been able to get their students laid from day game from past few years, guys. One reason is that because they focus too much on the game, which is not even working right now, guys. The things that are working are solid body language and your speech like slowing down and these kind of behavioral things which authors of the past had. And John exactly focuses on these things, guys. And one more thing, some Indian dating coaches and other coaches talk about Indian hate. Look, I never experienced that. It's because John taught me this whitewash tonality. And then I just followed John's advice on fashion also, guys. So I never experienced Indian hate. So any coach out there who is telling you about this Indian hate and all, it's just bullshit, guys. And it's very toxic to have that mindset. Plus, they have not been able to get Daygame late testimonials also, guys, from past 2-3 years. So in the end, I just want to say that if you are serious about getting results, I really want urge you guys and Indian guys to check out John's coaching. He is the best dating coach in the world. And I promise you guys, and I can vouch for the fact that you will not regret it, provided you do the
He probably said provide you do the work, but I don't know, his audio cut off. So regardless of that, what do you think? Pretty cool, right? Any final questions? I'm gonna go, but thank you for being here for everyone that is still here. Right? So give it a thumbs up. It's good for the algorithms. I've only seen like 3 thumbs up. One was for me. But yeah, I mean, all right. 3 hours and 3 seconds. All right, we'll stop it right here. This is perfect. Thank you for being here. 100 views. I will be back as soon as possible. I'll be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. Trust me. 100 views. I'm the Terminator. Get to the chopper. All right. Yes.